All right, this morning we are going to start reading Sherlock Holmes, the whole series. We're going to start with the first story, which is called A Study in Scarlet. Now, if this is your first time watching, we're not just going to be reading the words, we're actually going to be stopping and talking about interesting vocabulary words as we go. So, if you're learning English, this is a wonderful way to learn new vocabulary or new phrases that maybe you haven't encountered in everyday life but could be useful for you. And we're doing this live, so if you're watching this live with me right now, you can ask questions in the comments. What does this mean? What does that mean? Explain this. That's the whole point of doing this video. So if you're watching this with me right now, then you can ask questions. And a lot of times people even ask questions that have nothing to do with the story, but that's okay. We're going to read it slow. We're going to try to get through the first unit today. And when we're finished, what we've been doing is bringing people in live to practice some of these interesting vocabulary words. And we've already got 2 volunteers today. That is, if they're still on this link, I had to abort my previous stream. I hope they come back. We've got Sarah, I think, is here volunteering, right? Wait, let me see. Who is that? People, I have a Discord server. There's usually a link in the comments. Not today. This is a very chaotic morning. But if you want to be a volunteer, there's usually a link in the description so that you can join the Discord server and be a volunteer. Yes, so Sarah's here. She says, "Yes, I volunteer." And I saw Pachu. Let me go back up here. I saw Pachu. He says, "I want to volunteer." So our 2 volunteers today will be Pachu and Sarah. If we find Pachu, I hope he's not on the other stream. And well, that's it. They will come in and we'll practice. We'll practice 3 or 4 of the vocabulary words that we talk about. But the interesting thing is we will be working on accent improvement. So yes, we'll be practicing interesting vocabulary words, but really the focus will be on intonation and rhythm, things that will help you improve your accent that you probably won't find on many other YouTube channels. So if you're interested in improving your accent, then stick around because the fun part, well, reading the story is fun, reading it with you is fun, but the fun part really is when when we start practicing together. All right, so let's get started with Sherlock Holmes. Oh, Pachu's here. Hello. Good morning, Pachu. Wait, no, good evening, Pachu. So we're going to start reading today A Study in Scarlet by Sherlock Holmes. And I didn't have time to adjust my camera, so I'm orange. And I didn't even put on any fun music to go in the background because I didn't have any time. All right, let's try this one. What is this? Can't even hear it. All right. So, let's go. Let's go. We've got uh, I'm out of practice. I haven't done, I don't think we finished Gone with the Wind, which was 2,000 pages long, last like a month and a half ago. And I think I took a little vacation after that one. So let's start. Sarah says, "Welcome back. Thank you for joining, Sarah. Thank you for not forgetting me, Sarah, during my absence." All right, we have A Study in Scarlet by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, Sherlock Holmes. And let's see. Oh, I really like it if there's a little music. But why isn't my... Oh, there we go. Oh, that's kind of spooky music, but okay. For today, it'll do. I'm 17 minutes late today. Oh no. Okay. I'm going to try to do this a little bit differently. And I kind of want to go sentence by sentence and really try to take my time and summarize these things in simpler words. So we have part 1, being a reprint from the reminiscences of John H. Watson, MD, late of the Army Medical Department. Let me just explain a couple things about this. First of all, we have the room reminisce. That's a pretty good advanced vocabulary word. I would say that's a pretty advanced word. And Pachu, Sarah, anybody, what does that mean? Have you ever heard that word before, reminisce? That is when you remember something from the past that you really love, when you remember something that enjoyable about the past. If you know the word nostalgia, it's related to that word. It's not related to that word, but it's similar to that word. When you feel nostalgia for something, you remember the past. And maybe you even remember it in a way that is not exactly reality, just because you love the past. It's kind of like, imagine, okay, now, here, I'll give you an example. I grew up in a very small town, a village, actually, 2,000 people. That's not very many people, but I hated that place because it was a very small place and everybody knew each other, and it was kind of annoying to be in that kind of situation. So I couldn't wait to leave. I hated it. I was so happy to leave that place. Then I went to Chicago, Los Angeles, Mexico. But now when I think about that place, I think that wasn't so bad. I wish I could go back. That's nostalgia, and that's reminiscing, thinking about the past, thinking that was pretty nice, actually. I like that. Okay. Let's see. Sarah says memories. Okay, let's see. So this says John H. Watson, MD. Now, when you see those letters in English after somebody's name, that means they're a doctor. Okay, there are different types of doctors. A doctor really is just an expert. Okay, and usually, if you're a real expert on something, it will say PhD after their name, but you call them doctor. But you also call the person who looks at your body or who works on your body, you also call them doctor. But there's a difference. MD, that's somebody who's qualified to look at your body or work with your body. PhD, they're almost, well, some of them, maybe a physical therapist or something like that. But usually the MD, that's the person who takes care of the inside of your body. Or who is supposed to be an expert about the inside of your body. Okay, so let's get started. We're really going slowly here. Right, so this is chapter 1. In the year of 1878, I took my degree of Doctor of Medicine, that's the MD, Doctor of Medicine, from the University of London, and proceeded to Netley to go through the course prescribed for surgeons in the Army. Having completed my studies there, I was duly attached to the 5th Northumberland Fusiliers. Okay, so what he's saying is after he became a medical doctor, he was assigned, or I don't know if the government, somehow he was connected with a military unit. The regiment, a regiment is like a group of soldiers. I don't know military definitions too well, but it's some kind of group of soldiers. Takumi is here. I'm glad to join you live. Thank you, Takumi. Thank you for watching. The regiment was stationed. So remember, regiment is a group of soldiers. The regiment was stationed in India at the time, and before I could join it, the Second Afghan War had just broken out. On landing at Bombay, that's Mumbai now for you young people, I learned that my corps, okay, when you see that word corps, C-O-R-P-S, this is a French word, so that's why you don't pronounce the P and the S at the end of the word. And that is a French word that means body, but is also used to talk about big groups of military, a body of military. It's like a really big group of military people. Before I could join it, the Second Afghan War had broken out. On landing at Bombay, I learned that my corps had advanced through the passes and was already deep in the enemy's country. I followed, however, with many other officers who were in the same situation as myself, and succeeded in reaching Kandahar in safety. So he's just saying there were several of us who had to travel from India to Afghanistan, where I found my regiment and at once entered upon my new duties. Campaign brought honors and promotion to many, but for me, it had nothing but misfortune and disaster. I was removed from my brigade. Again, a brigade is a type of grouping of soldiers, but I don't really understand military terminology too well, so I just know that it's a group of soldiers. Probably, it sounds pretty big. Sounds like a pretty big group. I was removed from my brigade and attached to the Berkshires, so that's probably the name of another brigade, with whom I served the fatal battle of Maiwand. So remember, we've talked about that word fatal before. When you use the word fatal, that means something that can kill you. So how did they use it here? It says, the Berkshires, with whom I served at the fatal battle of Maiwand. So when he says it's a fatal battle, that means a lot of people died. Pachu says, can you increase the sound? Okay, let me see. Let me turn that up. I forgot. That's something I normally do before I start, but oh, I can't believe how, I've done this so many times, but I forgot the process. It's really funny. Okay. Well, actually, oh wait, input. Okay, hopefully that's better. Let me know if that was an improvement, Pachu. Okay. Where were we? Oh, okay. So if you say something is fatal, that means someone has died. But in this case, I think it means a lot of people have died. So that was a really ugly battle, a really bad fight. It's okay, Pachu? Good. All right. There I was struck on the shoulder by a Jezile bullet. I have no idea. Let's see what that is. Let's ask. Jezile. I've started using Grok, but I think actually ChatGPT is faster at answers. Let me ask ChatGPT. What is a Jezile bullet? Jezile, that sounds like some kind of it sounds sort of like a Persian word or something. So let's see. Sounds like it could be Afghani. Let's see. A Jezile bullet refers to the ammunition used in a Jezile, which is a long muzzle-loaded flintlock rifle commonly used by Afghan and Central Asian warriors in the 18th and 19th centuries. Okay. Just a bullet. Doesn't really matter. Which shattered the bone. Now, this is an interesting word, shatter, and I'm sure we've probably talked about it quite a bit before. Let's think about the difference between break and shatter. Let's see. First, what was that word we were talking about earlier? There was a good word in the beginning of this. Okay, I'm going to go back and check because I want to put that on my list of practice words today. And I've already forgotten. Oh, reminisce. That's a good one. We've probably already done it. Okay. But it doesn't hurt to do it again, right? Okay. So now, before we move on, let's talk about the difference between the word shatter and the word broken. So I'm going to show you a picture of a broken window. Oh. I just put the word broken, and then I got a broken heart. Oh, isn't that sad? Okay. So this is a broken window. Uh-oh. I've gone blurry. This is a broken window. Now let me show you a shattered window. Alrighty. So when something shatters, it breaks into many, many little pieces. So a break could just be a simple, but when something shatters, you see millions of pieces. So you often talk about shattered windows, shattered glass. I mean, think about, I've seen people, I've never done this, thank goodness, but I've seen people who have dropped their tablets or their phones, and then you can see sometimes it's just one little break, but sometimes it's many, many, many. Have you ever seen one of those? And that would be shattered. That's the difference. Look at this shattered window. This is definitely shattered and not broken. That's a shattered window. Okay. So if somebody breaks your heart, that's very sad. But if you tell someone, "Oh, you shattered my heart," that's more dramatic. All right, let's get back to this. Where did it go? So he said that he shattered his bones. So imagine that. That's really bad. I mean, if you break a bone, that's pretty bad. But if somebody shatters your bone, that's horrible. How do you recover from that anyway? The campaign brought honors and promotion to many, but for me it had nothing but misfortune and disaster. I was removed from my brigade and attached to the Berkshires. Okay, we read all of that. Where did we stop? There I was struck on the shoulder by a Jezile bullet, which shattered the bone and grazed the subclavian artery. All right. So if a when you think about someone shooting you, or not shooting you, when you think about someone shooting a gun, let's say that someone is shooting a gun at a tree. Probably you think like the bullet goes like this and then it goes through. But a lot of times what happens is the bullet is just very close and it just moves past and maybe it just hurts a little bit because they missed. It didn't go in, it just went like this and it just touched you, which made a little, let's see. Let's look at it because I don't really trust my descriptive abilities. So let's look at a bullet graze just so you see. It's not serious. It's not serious like when somebody like when the bullet goes inside of you. Let's see. This is a bullet graze, so it doesn't go inside. It just moved past and made a little, hurt a little. That's a bullet graze. There I was struck on the shoulder by a Jezile bullet, which shattered the bone and grazed the subclavian artery. All right, here's something I don't know. I can tell that, an artery, I think, is like a very big vein. It's a very important vein. So if something hits your artery, let's see, we better look at a picture of this. And because this is not Sherlock Holmes talking, this is Watson. This is Dr. Watson talking. And he's a doctor. He's a medical doctor. So he uses this kind of terminology. And so you can see the arteries are these very major passages in the body. So the bullet shattered his shoulder. His shoulder broke into a million pieces. And also the bullet penetrated one of his arteries. That's very bad because, if you have a little cut, blood. But if an artery, if something hits an artery, it's blood. That's very bad, a very bad thing, very dangerous condition. I should have fallen into the hands of the murderous Ghazis. Had it not been for the devotion and courage shown by Murray, my orderly. Now, in a hospital, an orderly is somebody who works in the hospital, usually cleaning. They usually do things like washing people, like washing their bodies if they can't take a bath, or cleaning the floor. The orderly is kind of like an assistant to nurses and doctors. And I don't know if they use that term anymore. I haven't watched TV in years, so I don't know, but I haven't heard that in a very long time. But they're pretty. They're kind of like maintenance people for a hospital, but not for the building. It's usually to assist the nurses and the doctors. Okay, my orderly. So remember that Watson is a doctor, and so the orderly is the person who would go and get him things like, get me my knife, get me a needle, bring me some water, hurry up, he's dying. That's the orderly. Like an assistant. Where did it go? My orderly, who threw me across a pack horse and succeeded in bringing me safely to the British lines. Worn with pain, weak from the prolonged hardships. Prolonged kind of means extended. So, and hardship is a very difficult situation. So a prolonged, maybe if you're having a difficult situation, you think, oh, it will be done tomorrow. It will be finished next week. And that's your expectation that next week the difficult thing, the hardship, will stop. But if you call it a prolonged hardship, then I understand you expected it to finish earlier, but it never finished. An extended hardship. It went past its time, past what you expected. Worn with pain and weak from the prolonged hardships I had undergone, I was removed with a great train of wounded sufferers to the base hospital at Peshawar. So they're in a hospital somewhere in Afghanistan, but for some reason, maybe because of fighting, they have to move everybody from one place to another place. Everybody, including Watson. Here I rallied. Now, rally is a word, and I think it specifically means like people. Well, usually it's used about people. When you talk about a rally, that means people coming together for a purpose. But when Dr. Watson says, I rallied, what he's saying is he pulled everything together. He pushed everything together inside of him. So in the previous hospital, maybe he felt like he was dying. And then they transferred him to this other hospital, and suddenly he pulled everything together. He rallied everything, his courage, his strength, his own healing, and he managed to pull through. That's a phrasal verb. Maybe we'll put that here, to pull through. It's not in the book, but that's what happened to him. When someone pulls through, that means that it was difficult, but they managed to move past the difficult part. So Watson managed to pull through in Peshawar. Here I rallied and had already improved so far as to be able to walk about the wards. A ward is a section of a hospital. It can be used to talk about the sections of other things, but here a ward is like the wing or the section of the hospital. Usually hospitals have different areas, like there's the cancer ward, the children's ward, the maternity ward. It's the way that you talk about dividing a hospital, but also other things. You could divide other things that way. Here I rallied and had already improved so far as to be able to walk the wards. So he was able to walk around the whole hospital, and even to bask a little upon the veranda. To bask in something is to enjoy something. So people usually talk about basking in the sun. And then you imagine they're on the beach saying, "Oh, I love the sun. This feels so good and wonderful." That's basking in the sun. Imagine there's a student and the teacher says, "Oh, you did a wonderful job, Johnny." And then maybe Johnny will bask in the compliments. "Oh, thank you. I love your compliments." That's so it's like enjoying something quite a bit. Basking. That's actually a good word. I'm going to put that down. Here I don't want to read that again. Let's see. I just want to read bask again. So far as to be able to walk the wards, so remember that's a section of a hospital. He's moved to this hospital in Peshawar, and he's getting better, surprisingly. And he's getting so healthy he can walk around the whole hospital. And then what can he bask in? I don't remember. And even to bask a little upon the veranda. So that means he goes to the veranda. That's like a porch. I think that's a Hindi word. I think they got that from Hindi, from India. That word veranda. Pacha, do you recognize that word? Veranda? And so he gets to sit. He says, "I'm basking on the porch." So I imagine he's sitting on the porch, just enjoying being in the fresh air and having the sunlight. That's what bask means. Enjoying something to the maximum. But it always takes the preposition in if you're going to tell me what is the thing that you're super enjoying. And it can't be like, "I'm basking in my coffee." I guess I could, but that would be stupid. Pachu says, "Yes, I recognize that word, veranda." So he's having a wonderful time. He's recovering at this new hospital in Peshawar, which now is in Pakistan. And I was struck down by enteric fever. I don't know. Sometimes the Victorians have weird names for illnesses. Let's see. Let's ask. Let's see if there's a modern term. What is enteric fever? Okay, in modern English, we would call that typhoid fever. I've heard of typhoid fever, but I've never heard of enteric fever before. So that's just a weird Victorian name for typhoid. And when he says, so we've got struck down, and struck down means something hit you and hurt you. So when he says, "I was struck down by enteric fever," that means I got typhoid and I'm really suffering. Probably it means I'm in bed. I can't leave the bed. The curse of our Indian possessions. For months, my life was despaired of. So when he says the curse of our Indian possessions, a curse is like something horrible that's upon you. Like if you make a magician or a witch angry, they'll say, "You're going to turn into a frog." That's a curse. And it's something you have to carry with you. And so when he says the curse of our Indian possessions, he means that it's wonderful to have these possessions of India, but the one horrible thing is typhoid fever. So besides that, it's great, but the typhoid, that's a curse. That's like India's like a magician saying, "Ha! Now you're going to get typhoid." For months, my life was despaired of. That word despair means to have no hope. So if you despair, that means you have no hope. And I heard a wonderful quotation once, which was, "To despair is to turn your back on God." And I like that quotation. I think that's a good quotation. So to feel no hope means that's just because you have forgotten God. Uh-oh, I'm going blurry again. Let me fix that. You know, I said, oh, I'm going to get the most expensive camera. That would be really good. Not the most expensive camera. The most expensive camera I can afford. So you spend a lot of money on a camera, and then it just always goes blurry. Okay. So this book is like 150 years old, and they talked a little bit differently back then. And nobody in modern or contemporary English would say my life was despaired of. But what I imagine that means is that either he was afraid he was going to die, he had lost hope that he was going to live, or maybe others had lost hope that he was going to live. So he was afraid that he was going to die. All right. Oh, I was struck down by typhoid. Let's just call it typhoid. The curse of our Indian possessions. For months my life was despaired of, and when at last I came to myself and became convalescent. We've seen that word convalesce in Gone with the Wind. Can anybody remember what that means? Probably not. I'll just tell you. I'll remind you that to convalesce means to recover from a sickness, a very strong sickness. But I don't really trust that definition, so I'm going to just ask ChatGPT. I would say that when I hear about somebody convalescing, I imagine them in bed. Like they can't leave the bed, but they're recovering, they're getting better, or maybe worse. Let's see. Let's ask ChatGPT. To gradually recover after an illness, injury, or medical treatment, it refers to the healing process. I came to myself and became convalescent. So he recovered, he was getting better, and he could feel it. He was convalescent. I was so weak and emaciated. When you're emaciated, that means people can see your bones. You haven't eaten in many days or many months or many weeks, and people can see your bones. That's not my problem. Let's see. I'm just going to show you pictures of emaciated. But they're all very sad pictures, so I'll only show you them for a second. This is emaciated. I was emaciated. Okay. I was so weak and emaciated that a medical board determined that not a day should be lost in sending me back to England. I was dispatched accordingly in the troop ship Orontes and landed a month later at Portsmouth Jetty, with my health irretrievably ruined, but with permission from paternal government to spend the next 9 months in attempting to improve it. All right, so we have, let's just read that again. So he arrived, he was so sick, he was getting better, but he had to return to England because he just wasn't able to continue his job anymore. But he was improving, and landed a month later on Portsmouth Jetty, with my health irretrievably ruined. So, although he was getting better, he would never return to his previous health. That's what he's saying there. When the word retrieve means you go and you get something. So if you retrieve something, that means you go somewhere and then you return with it. If something is irretrievable, that means you can never get it again. So if you delete this, like warning, if you delete this message, it is irretrievable. That means you can never get it back. It will never be returned to you. It's gone forever. Irretrievable. So when he says, my health was irretrievably ruined, that means he will never get his health back 100%. He's getting better, but he will never be 100% again. But with the permission of the paternal government, what do you think that means if you call the government paternal? What does parent mean? Parent. Oh, well, actually, I'm sorry. It's not parent. It's pater. Pater. You have maternal. That means like a mother, and then you have paternal. That means like a father. Mater is the Latin word for mother, and pater is the Latin word for father. So paternal means like a father. If something sorry, I got distracted for a minute. If something is very loving and wants to take care of you like a mother, you call it maternal. And if something is paternal, that usually means they're acting like a father, telling you what to do, giving you orders, taking care of you, but in a different kind of way than a mother. It's not a negative thing; it's a good thing. So, if it's the paternal government, maybe that's a bad thing. If the government thinks it's your father or acts like your father, that could be a bad thing, I suppose. But he's not using it in a negative way. When he says from the paternal government, he's proud that his government says that for the next 9 months you can recover, you can rest, we'll still pay you. That's what he means by paternal. Oh, the government is like my father, taking care of me while I'm sick. And he's grateful and happy. I think that was a pretty unusual thing 150 years ago. And I think that the British people were very proud of that at the time. I had neither kith nor kin in England. Now, that's a weird expression, and I don't think that you should waste any energy trying to remember that expression. I think it's probably outdated. Kith nor kin. I just want to see what kith means. Kin means family. I have no family. So he's returning from India very sick and no family. That's what kin means, but I don't know what kith means. I'm guessing it has something to do with money. Let's see if we get an explanation of kith. Friends. Kith means, I guess, friends, because kin, I'm sure, means family. Kith, friends, acquaintances, or people. That's a very old word, kith. Originally refers to one's homeland or people. Okay. But you will only read that in books. You won't really hear anybody ever say that in contemporary English. So don't worry about trying to remember it. So I had neither kith nor kin in England, and was therefore as free as air, or as free as income of 11 shillings and sixpence a day will permit. Should we convert that to modern money? How much in USD is Victorian? Let's see. How much was it? 11 shillings and sixpence. So this is his daily income. 11 shillings and sixpence. All right. Let's see how much Watson made per day. Ooh, that's not very much. Wait. Let's see. I just want some clarification that we're not talking about at the time. Yeah, it's like $113. So Dr. Watson made like $113 per day. Not very much. That would not go very far in today's London, that's for sure. Under such circumstances, I naturally gravitated towards London. The great cesspool. A cesspool is like a. Okay, you're going to have to look at a cesspool. It's gross, it's disgusting. This is a place that you hate. This is a place where all the bad things go. Actually, let's see. Here, this will give you an example. This is where I think you could probably just tell from this picture without me explaining too much. The cesspool is where, so you've got the toilet, and then this tank is the cesspool, the tank on the right. So when you call something a cesspool, you're calling it a horrible, horrible place. And it is a common term. You'll definitely hear people using that word. If there's any place that you hate, I could say Los Angeles is a cesspool. I could say that. I do say that. Okay, so now Watson is saying, well, I'm getting better. I'll never be 100% healthy. He's returning to England, but he doesn't have any family or friends there. He's all alone. He's got a little money. So he says, of course, naturally, I went to London. And then he says, the great cesspool. So I guess he doesn't like London very much. All right. With all the loungers and idlers. Lounging is like relaxing. Oh, I'm just going to lounge here and relax. That's lounging. And idle, I know that we have talked about the word idle many times. Can you remember that? Anybody remember what that word means, idle? Now there are two words, and they sound exactly the same, but they're different. You have idol, and that means like a little statue of a god. That would be an idol, idol. But then you have idle, and that means not moving when you should be moving. So if something, if you turn on a car, but then you don't start driving it, it's just on, you would say this car is idling. It's working, the car is running, the engine is running, but it's not moving, which is what you expect from a car. So this is a car that is idling. If you call a person idle, that means they're not moving, but they should be moving. Idle is another word for lazy. Kind of a fancy word. People usually just say lazy, but you can say idle if you like. With all the loungers, with all the people who love to just relax and drink and smoke, and the idlers, all the lazy people of the empire are irresistibly drained. So all the lazy people from the British Empire, all the what was the other word? Loungers, all the lazy people who like to sit around and relax and smoke and drink, they come from all over the empire to London. That's why he's calling it a cesspool. There I stayed for some time at a private hotel in the Strand, leading a comfortless, meaningless existence, and spending such money as I had, considerably more freely than I ought. So he's saying, I don't have very much money, but I was spending a lot of money because I was staying in a private hotel. And not a very nice life. I wasn't having anything extra. I wasn't enjoying myself, just existing on that money. Think about it. I mean, if you make $100 a day, that's $500 a week. No, if you're in London, you can't survive on $100 a day. I don't think. Not by yourself. So alarming did the state of my finances become that I soon realized that I must either I must either leave the metropolis. You know when you see, what does metro mean? Because polis, that's a Greek word that means like city. But also I thought metro meant city. That's kind of let me ask. It's a good time to sort this out. Let's see. Oh, okay. So polis, that's a word that you see all the time, all over the West, all over Europe, all over the United States. Usually it's at the end of something. It's the name of a city because polis is the Greek word for city. And that metro part is mother. So really what metropolis means is mother city. But it's only used to talk about enormous cities. So you could call New York a metropolis, London a metropolis, Beijing is a metropolis, Delhi is a metropolis. Any big city is usually called a metropolis. Mother city. So alarming did the state of my finances become that I soon realized I must either leave the metropolis, leave the city, or rusticate somewhere in the country. Now, the word rustic means primitive. So, for example, let's look at this. He's using it as a verb. I would not recommend doing that because it sounds very old fashioned. But let's take a look at the word rustic for a minute. Let's see, rustic house. Oh no, they give you like beautiful, they give you fashionable rustic. How about rustic camping? Rustic means like not refined, not comfortable, maybe not comfortable. Primitive. I don't know if you know the word primitive, but that would probably be the best synonym for rustic. So here's let me show you this. This is like very basic camping, right? You have the tent and you have somewhere to sleep. That's rustic camping. Let me show you a different kind of camping. Look, isn't this more comfortable? This is also camping, but which one do you prefer? The rustic camping or the fancy camping? All right, so Watson is saying, I'm going to rusticate, which I've never heard that as a word before, but what that means is I'm going to be more rustic, more primitive, more basic in the country. I'm going to leave London. Hey guys, if you're watching, please hit the like button. Someone just unliked me. Am I doing a bad job today? I went from 5 to 4. I didn't know that happened. That hurts. All right. The problem with Victorians is they like to use very fancy words all the time. I think they were bored and they just read books and tried to find weird words to use. So sometimes the way they say things is a little bit more complicated than what we're used to now. Let's see. So alarming did the state of my finances become that I soon realized that I must either leave the metropolis and rusticate, like go somewhere in the country and be more basic, or that I must make a complete alteration of my style of living. Choosing the latter alternative, I began making up my mind to leave the hotel and take up my quarters in some less pretentious and less expensive domicile. All right, now we have the word quarters, which means like a place to have a base or a place to stay or a place to sleep, something like that. And it's not used too much in normal English, but you can see it in things like headquarters. That word quarter there means that's the location of it. So headquarters means like the principal location of the company. And beyond that, I don't think that normal people use that word too much. But that's why it's called headquarters. Head means like number one, and quarters means like location or place to stay or sleep. Obviously, for headquarters, it doesn't mean sleep. You get the idea. And then we have domicile. And you see that word dome is a word that means home, place to live. So an expensive domicile is an expensive place to live. On the very day that I had come to this conclusion, I was standing at the Criterion bar when someone tapped me on the shoulder. Turning around, I recognized young Stamford, who had been a dresser under me at Bart's. I have no idea what that means. Bart's is a place, but I don't know what a dresser is in this situation. Maybe that's a store. Maybe a dresser is someone who helps you select your clothes that you want to buy, or something like that. Like, oh, here, this hat would look wonderful with your suit. That's what I guess, but I'm probably wrong. I have no idea about that one. The sight of a friendly face in the great wilderness of London is a pleasant thing indeed to a lonely man. In old days, Stamford had never been a particular crony of mine. Crony means like associate or friend. And I think in contemporary English, when you use crony, it always sounds negative. It means like the friend that you have and you do bad things with them. Something like that. Yasiru Rashmita says WTMO domicile. I'm sorry, Yasiru, but I don't know what WTMO means. So let me ask ChatGPT. I'm not familiar with that abbreviation. WTMO meaning. Let's see. No, ChatGPT doesn't know WTMO domicile either. Yasiru, can you reform your question in a different way? Because I'm not sure. Oh, what is the meaning of? Thank you. That seems obvious. Okay. Well, you see that word dome, which comes from Latin. It means home. So every time you see that, almost always, not always, there are other words that start with DOM, but many times when you see that word dome, you know that it has something to do with home. Okay? So domestic, that means things in the home. Or what other words can we think of? Domestic. I can't think of anything else right now, but there are a lot of words that begin with dome, and it has to do with home. And you'll see that in many European languages, that dome has the meaning of home. So domicile, it's really just a very, very fancy word for address. Your home address. Where do you live? Not your business address. When somebody says your domicile, that specifically means your home address. But you will almost never encounter that word, I think, unless you're dealing with the police or maybe filling out a government form. You might see that. But besides that, you probably won't. Pachu has written random. Pachu, why did you write the word random? Are you asking about that or making a comment? Okay, so let's go back to domicile. I'm sorry, Yasiru, I didn't see your question earlier. So a less expensive domicile. Right now, Dr. Watson is living in a hotel and it's too expensive. He doesn't make enough money. So he wants to find a less expensive home address. He wants to find a different place to live that's cheaper. But Victorians love weird words. Nobody will say domicile, except maybe the government. in modern English, in contemporary English. But maybe, maybe 150 years ago, that could have been common. Okay. In the old days, Stamford had never been a particular crony of mine. He had never been a friend of mine. We never hung out. We knew each other, we saw each other, but we never went to the pub and had something to drink or had dinner. So that's why he says had never been a crony. But I just want you to be careful with that word crony, which means like friend, because a lot of times in contemporary English that sounds like a negative friend. A friend where, you meet and then you do bad things together. Steal, harass people. That's a crony type activity, in my opinion. But now I hailed him with enthusiasm. Everybody uses Uber now, I guess. I don't. I still have never used Uber. But a lot of people do. When you go down into the street, instead of using Uber, if you do this when a taxi drives by, this is called hailing a cab. That's hailing a cab. Hailing is something you do to get someone's attention. Hey! Like that. It can also mean like praise. Like, oh, I love you so much. You're the best. That's also hailing someone. And let me fix my blur. I don't know. I haven't touched my equipment in like 2 months. And I don't know. Everything's gone crazy. Wait a minute. This has never happened before. Not like this. Let's see if we can make it. No. Let me try this. Today is my bad luck day. Go on, feel sorry for me. Give me more likes. I need some likes. Let me try to fix my camera. There we go. That didn't fix anything. So that word hail, it could mean to like get someone's attention, but it can also mean to praise them, to say they're wonderful, to say they're the best. And so sometimes you could maybe see that like in a movie review. The movie was hailed the best in 2025. That means like celebrated. Let's say that celebrate. I think that's really a good synonym for hail. Celebrate. Wow, I really cannot fix my camera. What's going on? Oh, here's focus. Let's see. There we go. Let's turn on autofocus. Oh, wonderful. Maybe I just had that off the whole time. Okay. Sorry. Oh, things will go better tomorrow, I hope. All right. Let's go back to reading Hail again. In the old days, Stamford had never been a particular crony of mine. But now I hailed him with enthusiasm. I celebrated him with enthusiasm. Yasiru says, I've been binging your Gone with the Wind live streams. I couldn't think of any better way to learn new vocabulary. It's edutaining. I've never seen that word before. Edutaining. Yeah, that's a good word. I like that word. What do you do? I make edutainment. Did you make that up, Yasiru? Or did you hear that before? Is that a real word? Or that's a clever word if you made it up. It's edutaining. I was worried because I haven't posted for a month. Hear you again. Keep it up. Sorry, Yasiru. Well, we finished Gone with the Wind, and then I had to go to Los Angeles, and I was planning on doing the videos from Los Angeles, but it was too difficult. So now I'm back in Mexico, and here we are. It's fun. I miss this. For a while I was getting a little bored, thinking, oh, probably everybody thinks this is really boring. But it's fun to be back. Okay, let's keep going. Thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that. Yasiru says, I've never heard it before. I like it. Use it. That's a really good word. Edutainment. I'm going to start using that. And they say, did you make that up? I said, no. Yasiru told me. In the old days, Stamford had never been a particular crony of mine, but I now celebrated him. I hailed him with enthusiasm. And he, in his turn, appeared to be delighted to see me. In the exuberance of my joy, exuberance means a lot of energy. So it wasn't just, oh, I like Stamford. It's, I love Stamford. That's exuberance. It's a lot of energy. So in the exuberance of my joy wasn't just happiness. It was everybody could see how much fun we were having together. I asked him to lunch with me at the Holborn, and we started off together in a hansom. A hansom, let me show you a picture of that. So you don't have to worry about knowing this word because we don't use them anymore, but it's important to know. You'll see this word, I think, over and over again in the Sherlock Holmes series. So we better establish what that means right away. A hansom cab is this. So it's just like a taxi. This was a very, very common vehicle. I mean, now it would be like a Ford or I don't know where you live, like with the common. Which car in your country is the most common that you see all the time everywhere? And that would be the equivalent of a hansom. A very common way of moving around. So we started off, we went to the hotel in a hansom, in one of those, what I just showed you. Whatever have you been doing with yourself, Watson? He asked, in undisguised wonder. Wonder is like, you know how we have the word wonderful? The word wonder means that you make questions to yourself. So when you say I wonder, you're saying I'm asking myself this question. And so when something is wonderful, that means you see it and then you're full of questions to yourself, like, wow, how can that be? So to be full of wonder is like to be full of questions, to be full of wow. Whatever have you been doing with yourself, Watson? He asked in undisguised wonder. He was fascinated by Watson. He knew Watson would have wonderful stories. Wow, whatever have you been doing with yourself, Watson? I'm very interested, he asked with wonder. Arturo says sounds something like educating and entertaining. Yeah, isn't that clever? Edutainment. I'm going to start using that. Do I have your permission, Yasiru, to use that word? You are as thin as a lathe. I don't know what a lathe is. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. Let's see. What's a lathe? Lathe? Wait. What is a lathe? And how is it pronounced? Whatever this word is, I'm sure I've never used that in my life. I'm sure you'll never have to worry about it. So lath. Lath. They say it rhymes with bath. Lath. And what is it? Thin, flat strips of wood or metal used as a foundation for plaster, tiles, or other materials in construction. Yeah, so it's a very specific word. Don't worry about it. But it's very thin. It's like a thin piece of wood. So he says you're as thin as a lath and as brown as a nut. I gave him a short sketch of my adventures and had hardly concluded it by the time we reached our destination. Poor devil, he said, commiseratingly. When you commiserate with people, that means that you interact with them. Like you're trying to have a social interaction with them. You're trying to be very agreeable and nice, and you're hoping the other person will be very agreeable and nice. I really don't like that definition. Let's ask ChatGPT. Commiserate. But just to summarize what's happening so far, is that Watson has returned from India. He's injured. He will never be the same because of his shattered shoulder. And he's lonely. He doesn't have very much money. He is living in London and he's getting desperate for money. And he runs into an old acquaintance, someone he knows but he wasn't really friends with. And he's so happy to see him, even though they were never really good friends. He invites him to have lunch. And so they're sitting at lunch, and his new friend says, "Wow, what have you been doing? Look at you. You're so thin. You're as thin as a laugh." Sarah says, "What does it mean to rattle through?" Was that in the book, Sarah? I don't remember that. Or are you just asking because you just saw it somewhere else? Rattle is a sound. Let me see if I can kind of rearrange things here, and now I can't open my drawer. Rattle is a sound. Rattle is this sound. That's rattling. So if you're rattling through someone, I don't know the context because I don't remember reading that in the story. Was that mentioned in the story? Is that why you're asking? But to rattle through something probably would be like if you were going into like a box and it had a lot of hard things. So when you're looking for something, it makes that noise, and that's what rattling through would be. So I think, without any context, I think it would mean like somebody is looking for something and there are lots of little things that they have to move around and you hear that noise. Does that make sense in the context of whatever you were asking about? Oh wait, let's read the definition for commiserate. Sympathize, console, offer condolences. So I was way off with my commiserate. It is in the previous line? Wow, I don't even remember reading it. Where was that? I gave him a short sketch of my adventures and hardly concluded it by the time that we reached our destination. Where? Rattle through. I don't remember reading it. No, I don't see it. And you said it was in the previous line, not paragraph, but line. Okay, let me start from I gave him a short sketch. I gave him a short sketch of my adventures and had hardly concluded it by the time we reached our destination. Poor devil, he said commiseratingly. So that means with sympathy. I was totally wrong about that. It's just that I remember seeing many, I've never really used that word, but I've seen people, maybe it was used as a joke, saying, I'm going to commiserate, and they mean like socialize. But the definition here means sympathize. That's kind of interesting. Poor devil, he said commiseratingly after he listened to my misfortunes. What are you up to now? That means, what are you doing now? Looking for lodgings. Sarah, I can't find the word, but I guess in this context, the only way that you could use rattle through. Now remember, we've talked many times about a phrasal verb being literal or abstract. So, for example, turn on can be literal. Turn on. Turn on the TV, turn on the lights. It's very literal. And of course, when you do that, you emphasize the word on. Turn on the TV. But also turn on can have an abstract meaning, like betray. He turned on his friends. He betrayed his friends. And then you emphasize the verb when you do that. And here you have rattle through. Now, if what do you think about the way I described rattle through? Is that literal or is that abstract? Could you look at if you know the word, what rattle means, that noise, and through, you probably could guess the meaning, or at least when you learn the meaning, you'll say, oh, that makes sense. Rattle through. Now I understand. But I think that probably, I don't see it here, but if you rattle through a list, that would be like uh, just going through the list. I'm having trouble with this. I'm going to ask ChatGPT. Probably somebody was listing something, making a list like I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this, and you would call that rattling through a list. But what's the difference between reading a list and rattling through a list? Let's ask ChatGPT. Because there is a difference. I just can't think of it on the spot like this. So let's look. Difference between read a list and rattle through a list. Sarah says abstract. I'll explain that in a second, Sarah. Okay. We've talked about that word several times, and I'm sure you've been around, but of course, it's easy to forget these kinds of things. Abstract painting of man versus realistic painting of man. Let's see if we can find a comparison. Okay, this is good. Or maybe... I'm just trying to find a good example. Okay, Sarah, I'm just going to show you a picture on the screen, all right? You see this? You know, if there were no eyes in this picture, maybe you would never understand that this is a face. Okay, if I said, like, okay, let's try it like this. If I said, Sarah, what is this picture? Oh, let's try a different one. There are too many clues here. Let's try this one. If I say, Sarah, what is this? I don't know. If you're not paying attention, maybe you would say, I don't know. I don't know what that's supposed to be. It doesn't look like anything. These are not good examples. I have to find something better. Okay, it would kind of be like this. Okay, imagine your friend is an artist. And I say, Sarah, do you like my painting? And you say, what is it? And I say, oh, that's a beautiful lake next to a forest. You say, no, it isn't. It's just some colors. And then I'll say, oh, Sarah, you don't understand my concept. I have this wonderful concept in my head, and you're not smart enough to understand it. It's just me who's smart enough to understand this is a beautiful lake in a forest. This is abstract art. So it represents something, but it doesn't look like it. Arturo says, could it be rattling along? Wait a minute. Okay, Sarah, first of all, this is a painting, okay? If I say, Sarah, do you like my picture of a horse? Sarah, what do you think of my picture of a horse? How will you react? Won't you react that I'm crazy? Because it represents a horse. It is not horse painting. This is also a painting of a horse. Okay? But this is a good painting. This is a good painting of a horse. But you know, now people, they like to be fancy and they say, oh no, it is a horse. It's the essence of a horse. This is an abstract painting of a horse. And this is a realistic painting of a horse. You see the difference between abstract and realistic? Abstract, the two words represent something in a phrasal verb, like this. But you don't know it. Somebody has to tell you. Somebody has to tell you. Whoops. Somebody has to tell you this is a horse. You could never see, because it's like some stupid, oh, it's a concept. This is my horse. It's the essence or spirit of a horse. Okay, whatever. It's not a horse. Okay, I have to tell you this. That's abstract. This is an abstract horse. This is a real horse. This is a literal horse. So when you say turn on, I can see that. I can say, oh yes, that makes sense. Turn on. Horse. That makes sense, right? This is a horse. Turn on. So you can see those two words and you can understand the meaning just from the words. But then we have the abstract. Okay, look. I have to tell you, that's a horse. I have to explain it to you. You can never guess. Same thing with turn on, meaning betray. John turned on his friends. Turn on? What does that mean? All right, so that's the difference, and that's what abstract means. Okay, now Arturo said, could it be rattling along the street? Did you see that? I still don't remember seeing the word rattle. Rattling along would make sense. That would be like the sound of the carriage moving. While the horse is moving, you hear the sound. And we've talked in previous videos, we've talked many times how some literal phrasal verbs, when you use the word on, it means continue. So talk on means continue talking, and walk on could mean continue walking. If the phrasal verb is literal, sometimes that word on could mean continue. Talk on, walk on, go on. They all mean continue, read on. And rattling on would mean this is literal. You can hear the rattle. And it's continuing. It keeps moving because the horses don't stop. So that could be that. But it could also be rattling. What were we talking about? Rattling through a list. It could be that exists. And that's literal to me because you've got and through means you go from the beginning to the end. So that's a very literal phrasal verb. But according to ChatGPT, the difference between reading a list, normal pace, very careful, very precise, rattling through a list, making a lot of noise, but going from the beginning to the end. Rattling through a list is fast and rushed, less detail, informal, and careless. So that's the difference. Okay. Let's get back to the story. Looking for lodgings, I answered. Lodgings means like looking for a place to stay, looking for a place to live. A lodge is a place where you can pay money to stay, pay rent to stay. Looking for lodgings, I answered, trying to solve the problem as to whether it is possible to get comfortable rooms at a reasonable price. That's a strange thing, remarked my companion. You're the second man today that has used that expression to me. And who's the first? What was the expression? Comfortable rooms at a reasonable price. That's the expression. And who was the first? A fellow who's working at the chemical laboratory. I was going to use the British pronunciation. The British say laboratory, but I guess because I'm reading a British book, I wanted to do that. But normally an American would say laboratory. Why do I keep wanting to say laboratory? That's crazy. He was a fellow who was working at the chemical laboratory at a hospital. He was bemoaning himself this morning. Moaning is a type of noise. This is moaning. Oh. That's moaning. That's what moaning means. To bemoan something means to complain about something. It's like a fancy word for complaining. And you can still use it. It's a pretty unusual word for complaining. Like, oh, there's no cheap places to live anymore. That's bemoaning something. Oh, it takes too long to get there. That's bemoaning. It's just complaining, really. A fellow who's working at the chemical laboratory up at the hospital. He was bemoaning, complaining to himself this morning, bemoaning himself this morning, that he could not get someone to go halves with him in some nice rooms, which he had found, and which were too much for his purse. So earlier, his new friend was talking to someone who was complaining, "Oh, I found a great place to live, but I can't afford it. I wish I knew someone who could share the apartment with me." "By Jove!" I cried. That's an expression. You probably won't hear it in contemporary English too much. It's just like, "Oh my God," something like that. "By Jove!" I cried. If he really wants someone to share the rooms at the expense, I'm the very man for him. I should prefer having a partner to being alone. Young Stamford looked rather strangely at me over his wine glass, like, I don't know. That's maybe not a good idea. You don't know Sherlock Holmes yet, he said. Perhaps you would not care for him as a constant companion. Why? What is there against him? Like, why? What's your problem with him? Oh, I don't say there's anything against him. He's a little queer. Queer. We've seen that word in many books now. It means strange. All it means is strange. He's a little strange in his ideas. He's a little queer in his ideas. An enthusiast in some branches of science. As far as I know, he's a decent fellow. When you call someone an enthusiast, that means they're not an expert. They just enjoy it. So if you say, I'm a car enthusiast, that doesn't mean I'm a car expert. It just means I love cars. If you're I don't know what else to, if you're a soccer enthusiast, you enjoy soccer, but you're not an expert. You're not professional. So when Stamford calls Sherlock Holmes, what did he say? What was he an enthusiast about? An enthusiast in some branches of science. That means he's not a professional. He's not professionally trained. He just really loves studying science. So in other words, he's an amateur. I don't think Sherlock Holmes would like it if you called him an amateur. A medical student, I suppose, said I. No, I have no idea what he intends to go in for. I believe he's well up in anatomy. Anatomy is the study of the body. And he's a first-class chemist, but as far as I know, he's never taken out any systematic medical classes. His studies are very desultory and eccentric. Okay, we have to look up the word desultory. I have no idea what that means. Desultory. Lacking a clear plan, purpose, or direction. That's me. I'm desultory. Done in random, disconnected, in an unfocused way. That's me. I'm desultory. Jumping from one thing to another without consistency. That's me. I'm desultory. I never knew it. His studies are very desultory. So that means he's not focused. He's always jumping from one thing to another thing to another thing, and then back to the other one. And eccentric. Eccentric kind of means strange and attention-getting. It's two things at once. You get people's attention, but for strange, weird reasons. But he has amassed a lot of out-of-the-way knowledge, which would astonish his professors. A mass means something big, like a big group of something. To amass something means to make a very large pile. I wonder what would happen if we just used the adjective amassed and looked for pictures of what was amassed. Let's see. Okay. It kind of means pile, make a pile of something. He made a pile of, let's see, let me show you a picture. So it's a verb. So for example, if I say, I amassed money, that means I made a pile of money. Amassed, A-M-A-S-S-E-D, amassed, or A-M-A-S-S. It's usually something that you collect. So money, ideas, subjects, things that you collect, you would amass, and you can use that as an adjective. My camera has never gone this blurry ever before. Poor me. Let's see. What if we refocus it here? There we go. Let's see, what did Sherlock Holmes amass? Because I don't remember. He has amassed a lot of out-of-the-way knowledge. Out-of-the-way means not typically known. Usually if you're studying something, you go down a path that's pretty directed. If you study something out of the way, it means you're not following the typical path. You're going off in a very strange direction. So he has amassed a lot of out-of-the-way knowledge. Most people just stay in this path, and they know everything in this path. But not Sherlock Holmes. He's gone out of the way. He's gone different ways. So he's studying the same things at the university, but on his free time, he's studying things that they never think about at that school. That's sort of what it means. He's studying unusual things, not normally studied. Sarah says amateur, so you're referring to enthusiast? Yes, that's like calling someone an amateur. But amateur could be an insult. And when you call someone an enthusiast, you're just saying they're not professional and it's something they really love. But when you call someone an amateur, you're saying, you don't know what you're doing. So there's a big difference. So his studies were very desultory, very unfocused, and eccentric. It gets a lot of attention, and it's strange to people what he does. But he has amassed a lot of out-of-the-way knowledge, which would astonish his professors, surprise his professors. No, he's not a man that is easy to draw out. To draw means to pull. And to out, this is a literal phrasal verb, and it's literal because you have they're saying he's not an easy man to pull out of his body, to pull out of his head. So he's not social. He's not easy to talk to. He doesn't like talking to people. He doesn't like interacting with people. Well, I don't know what's going on with my camera today, but it's kind of annoying. I should like to meet him. Oh, wait. No, he's not a man that's easy to draw out. It's not easy to get him to talk to you. He's an introvert, if you know that word, introvert. You cannot take him out of his body. You cannot take him out of his mind. He stays inside of there. He can be communicative enough when the fancy seizes him, so sometimes, if he's in the right mood, he'll have a conversation with you. I should like to meet him, I said. If I'm to lodge with anyone, I should prefer a man of studious and quiet habits. So, actually, Watson says, that's perfect. I want someone who doesn't talk too much and who likes studying science. I'm not strong enough yet to stand much noise or excitement. I had enough of both in Afghanistan and to last me for the remainder of my natural existence. How could I meet this friend of yours? He's sure to be at the laboratory, returned my companion. He either avoids the place for weeks or else he works there from morning to night. If you like, we shall drive there. We shall drive there. We shall drive round together after luncheon. Certainly, I answered, and the conversation drifted away. Drifting is this movement, like when you go like this, like the water. You know, the water drifts when it's very calm. It just moves a little bit. It's drifting. And maybe if you see something on the water, like a piece of wood, you know, it goes up and down. It moves very slowly into a different direction. This is drifting. It's a very common word. Drifting off to sleep. That means like slowly going to sleep. That's drifting off to sleep. Here, how do they use it? I can't find it. Where did it go? Oh, certainly, I answered, and the conversation drifted away into other channels. So it was the focus of the conversation. Oh, Sherlock Holmes. But after they decided to go see him, the conversation slowly moved to different topics. The conversation drifted away. As we made our way to the hospital. Now this is interesting. I remember talking about make in 1984. This is horrible that I can remember the first paragraph of 1984. What's wrong with me? But I remember in the first paragraph of 1984, it starts with Winston outside of his apartment, and then he's very nervous, and he goes into the apartment building, and he makes for the door. That's the first chapter. That's the first paragraph of 1984. Don't believe me? Go check. Anyway, I remember thinking about that. That's kind of interesting. I never thought about how you could use make to mean go, because it says Winston made for the stairs. And I had to think about, like, what does that mean? Why do we use make instead of go in a situation like this? And it seems like when you make for a place, to make for a place, it means you're going somewhere with a goal in mind. You want to arrive somewhere. So what's it, or you have a special purpose when you arrive at that destination. Okay, if I say John went to the store. John went to the store. That's a good sentence, but it's a little boring because it doesn't give me any extra information. If I say John made for the store, suddenly I'm excited and I say, what did he want? What was the purpose? Why did he go? Like, John went to the store. Well, thanks for the information. John made for the store. That means he went there because he had to do something when he gets there. He had a purpose. And suddenly you're interested. What did he want to do? John made for the store because he had to buy medicine. Oh no, what's wrong? How do they use it here? As we made our way to the hospital. Sorry. To make your way is a completely different thing. I just went off for 5 minutes about something that has nothing. To make your way means maybe it's not so easy to get from point A to point B. Probably because of traffic. Oh, I need some milk. Well, I guess I'll make my way to the store. That means, well, it's not going to be easy to get there. It's going to be complicated and annoying, but I'll do it. Usually, you would use that as like a passive-aggressive way to complain about traffic or too many people in the street. Oh, I had to make my way to the front of the line. That means sort of like I had to fight my way to the front of the line. Not fight. It's not terribly difficult, but it's not easy. Move. Excuse me, that's making your way. Getting to from one point to another, but it's not so easy. Maybe because of traffic or too many people. Okay. Certainly, I answered, and the conversation drifted into other channels. As we made our way to the hospital after leaving the Hellborn, Stamford gave me a few more particulars, a few more details about the gentleman who I proposed to take as a fellow lodger. So as we were going to meet him, Stamford gave him a few more details about his potential roommate. You mustn't blame me if you don't get on with him. Now, get on is a phrasal verb that's pretty common. I'm sure we've talked about it before, and that means develop a good relationship or have a good relationship. That's pretty common in the UK to use get on in that sense. And since we're talking about abstract and literal phrasal verbs, think about the phrasal verb get on the bus. It's pretty obvious what get on the bus means if you think about what get could mean and how on means like connecting you from one thing to another thing. So I would say get on is a literal phrasal verb. But if you take so in other words, you can look at the words and understand what they mean. Oh, get on, that makes sense. But get on also has an abstract meaning, which is have a good relationship. You will never guess that get and on together mean have a great relationship. That's why I call it abstract. Someone has to tell you. You have to read it. Someone has to tell you. But you could never guess just by looking at the words what it means. That's why it's abstract. And that's what we have here. You mustn't blame me if you don't get on with him, he said. I know nothing more of him than I've learned from meeting him occasionally in the laboratory. You proposed this arrangement, so must not hold me responsible. Oh wait, let me read that again with better intonation. This is why intonation is important. You proposed. He knows that Watson's going to hate Sherlock Holmes. Everybody does. He's a very difficult man. And his friend is saying, just remember. Now, you is a very important word in this sentence. You suggested I introduce you. Okay, so don't get angry with me if you don't like him because you suggested it. You proposed this arrangement, so you must not hold me responsible. If we don't get on, it'll be easy to part company, I answered. It seems to me, Stamford, I added, looking hard at my companion, that you have some reason of washing your hands of the matter. When you wash your hands of something, you're giving up. You're saying, this is washing your hands. I give up. I don't know in your country what this means, but at least in the United States, that means nope, no more. I give up. I'm finished. I'm not talking to you anymore. I've washed my hands of you. I've washed my hands of you. I don't know if you're in your country if that means anything, but this means I give up. I never thought about that before. That's a really weird hand gesture. But I guess it's washing your hands, like cleaning yourself of a person. Like, nope, I don't want you. I'm washing my hands of you. Get off. Get off. I'm making that's a good phrase. That's a really good phrase. So I'm going to put that on our list today. Wash your hands of. All right. I think probably because we've been going, well, really since 5:30, not really 5. But maybe what we'll do is we'll try to finish this column here. I don't know how long that will take. And then we'll start practicing, okay? So let's see. Let's try to go through this pretty quickly. I hope you're all still awake. If we don't get on, it will be easy to part company, I answered. It seems to me, Stamford, I added, looking hard at my companion, that you have for some reason, washed your hands of the matter. Watson says, you've given up. You want nothing to do with it. Is this fellow's temper so formidable? Formidable means like intimidating, but maybe you don't really know that word, intimidating. Let's just say scary. Is this man's temper, is he really scary? Is he really that scary that you're saying, not my fault? Or what is it? Don't be mealy-mouthed about it. Okay, now that is an expression. I think it was common in the past. And sometimes you hear people using it, but really, I don't think many people use it these days. I've heard it, but I don't know what it means, really. So I couldn't define it for you. I get the idea when I hear it, but let's see. Mealy-mouthed. Avoiding direct or honest speech. So being very indirect. Not speaking plainly. Being vague or indirect. Right. Okay. Jimmy W. says, long time no see. That's right. It's been a while. I was in Los Angeles for about 5 weeks, and I just couldn't do it there. And I was lazy before I went. So you're right, it has been. But I forgot how much fun this is to sit here and do this all morning. So let's keep going. So he's saying, don't be mealy-mouthed. Like, tell me what's wrong with Sherlock Holmes, and be direct. Don't be indirect. Tell me exactly what's wrong with him. It's not easy to express this inexpressible. It's not easy to express the inexpressible. He answered with a laugh. Holmes is a little too scientific. For my tastes, it approaches to cold-bloodedness. When you call someone cold-blooded, that means that they have no heart. So a lot of times you'll see, for example, cold-blooded killer. And that means that person didn't just kill someone, they did it in a horrible way, like they have no heart. Whenever you call someone like cold-blooded manager, that means a manager who wouldn't care about anybody, who doesn't care about anyone if they get hurt. A cold-blooded comment, that means like a very hurtful, mean comment. You don't care how much it hurts other people. You have no heart. So he says that Sherlock Holmes is maybe too interested in science. Cold-blooded. Like, he's so impartial, so scientific, he has no feelings. He has no heart. Holmes is a little too scientific for my tastes. It approaches to cold-bloodedness. He has no feeling. He doesn't care about people. He's like a computer. I could imagine his giving a friend a little pinch. A little pinch. A little pinch. I could imagine his giving a friend a little pinch of the latest vegetable alkaloid. Okay, if you're making something, when you this is a pinch. So if you're making food, maybe you use a pinch of salt, a pinch of pepper, a pinch of this. So he's talking actually about making recipes, maybe chemistry. A little pinch of the latest vegetable alkaloid. Not out of malevolence, you understand. I don't know what vegetable alkaloid is. Some kind of mix, some kind of chemical mix. Maybe it's dangerous. I don't know, because now they're talking about malevolence. Hi, Professor. How long? I'm back. Both of us, Wellington Cardoso. I missed you. How are you doing? I've been gone for about 2 months, too. So we're both just returning. Oh, Pachu, there's our word malevolence. You see that mal? That almost always means evil, M-A-L. So bad intentions. I don't know what vegetable alkaloid is yet. Maybe we'll find out in a minute. I could imagine his giving a friend. A little pinch of vegetable alkaloid. Not out of malevolence, not out of bad intentions. Okay, we have to look it up. I don't know. Vegetable alkaloid. Vegetable alkaloid. Naturally occurring organic compound found in plants that contains nitrogen and has physiological effects on humans and animals. These compounds are often bitter and can be medicinal, toxic, or psychoactive. So if that could be a bad thing to put vegetable alkaloid in something and give it to someone, because it's toxic. That means it's poisonous. Now that we understand vegetable alkaloid, let's reread it. I could imagine him giving a friend a little pinch of the latest vegetable alkaloid, not out of malevolence, not to be evil, not to be bad, not to be mean, you understand, but simply out of a spirit of inquiry in order to have an accurate idea of the effects. So in normal English, not Victorian English, that means I could see him putting poison, giving his friend poison, a pinch of poison, not to be mean, not for bad intentions, but just to see what would happen. Pachu says alkaloid. Pachu, you work with chemicals and food and all of that, right? Because that seems like the kind of thing that you would talk about in a science sort of environment or a food sort of environment. Let's define alkaloid. But I bet in your work you probably, I don't know. I don't know how often you get in touch with ingredients, or if you just work with machines, or if you're involved in the process of manufacturing. But if you're manufacturing food, that's probably a word that you would encounter. Let's see. The problem with using AI for asking a question is it gives very long answers. It takes a few minutes to formulate. Oh, so Pachu does know. Okay, no, Pachu does know it. He was just saying, "Hey, I know that word, alkaloid," because now he's giving me all kinds of things, things I don't understand. Pachu said C18H25N05. That's something only Pachu understands. Okay, but it's some kind of seems organic though. It's some kind of thing that you would extract from a plant, take from a plant. But sometimes it could be toxic. And so Stamford is saying, "Oh, well, Holmes is weird. Like he would poison you. He would give you some poison, but not to hurt you, not malevolently, but just to see what happens, to see your reaction, and record it like a scientist." To do him justice, I think that he would take it himself with the same readiness. He appears to have a passion for a definite and exact knowledge. So Stamford is being fair, and he's saying, well, yeah, he would do that to his friend, but I have to be fair, he probably would do it to himself too. He just really loves investigating things. Yes, but it may be pushed to excess. Wait. Very right, too. Yes, but it may be pushed to excess. So Watson is saying, well, okay, that's kind of scary that he would poison his friend, but he's fair. He would do it to himself, too. So, well, he seems like a reasonable guy. So he says, very right, too. Yes, but it may be pushed to excess. Yes, but he's very extreme when it comes to beating the subjects in the dissecting rooms with a stick. What? It is certainly taking rather bizarre shape. Okay. The word dissect, that means when you take something apart. Usually, die means two, and sect means to cut in two sections. Die, do, duh, whatever. Die, put in two, and sect, two sections, dissect. It's a verb. Cut in two, dissect. But that's only used in science So you do not dissect a sandwich. That sounds scary, because usually when doctors or scientists talk about dissecting something, it's a body, like an animal or a human. So if you dissect an animal, you're cutting the animal in two to study the inside. So you don't dissect your sandwich. People will think, oh, what's inside the sandwich? Why are you dissecting it? You cut a sandwich in half, but you dissect things in science. You cut them in half to investigate them. So let's see. When it comes to dissecting the subjects, now the subjects, that's whatever they're cutting in half. And I think they're talking about human bodies because it's a school and I think they're studying to be doctors. That would be part of studying to be a doctor, is opening the human body and looking at all the different parts, which is what medical students do or did. I think they still do it, of course. Let's see. So the subject, that means the dead body. What this man is saying is that he's very extreme when he beats the body with a stick. I don't know what that means. And neither does Watson. Let's reread the paragraph and then let's read Watson's reaction. Yes, but it may be pushed to excess. When it comes to beating the dissecting room, beating the subjects in the dissecting room, the dead bodies. So there are dead bodies in the room where the medical students will study the body, and they do that by dissecting them, by cutting them in two, or at least not all the way in two, but just the front part. So he's beating the dead bodies with a stick, and he's very extreme about it. Beating the subjects in the dissecting rooms with a stick, it's certainly taking a rather bizarre shape. That's Victorian for that's really weird. Beating the subjects? Yes, to verify how far bruises may be produced after death. I saw him with my own eyes. So yes, he was beating dead bodies with a stick. Not to be mean, he just wanted to see, okay, if I hit him with a stick in 1 hour, will he still get a bruise? What's a bruise, you ask? I'll tell you. Wait a minute. Bruises are this. These are bruises. Bruise. I have a bruise right now. I don't know where I got it. I can't see it. Yeah, it's right here. You can't see it on the camera, but I have a bruise. And I don't know where it came from. So when Sherlock's in school, he goes into the dissecting rooms and he beats the dead bodies with sticks. He wants to know, when do people stop bruising? After 1 hour of being dead, after 2 hours of being dead, after 3 hours of being dead. When do they stop this process from happening? Or when does that process stop happening? But everybody's frightened because he's very violent when he does it. He really, not because he's horrible or mean or wants to cause pain, but because he really wants to know the answer to the question. But to everyone else, it looks shocking. And yet you say he's not a medical student. No, heaven knows what the objects of his studies are. But here we are, and you must form your own impressions about him. As he spoke, we turned down a narrow lane and passed through a small side door which opened into the wing of a great hospital. It was familiar ground to me, and I needed no guiding as we ascended. Ascending means going up. Ascending means going up, and descending means going down. So as we ascended the stairs. Now, no person in contemporary English would say, I ascended the stairs. So it's better probably just to say, I went up the stairs. But in Victorian England, they were much more They like to use really big words. They had nothing else to do. It was familiar ground to me, and I needed no guiding as we ascended the stairs to the bleak stone staircase. Bleak means dark, or no hope, or kind of scary, or has no promise. So they went up, they were going to the hospital, they went up the stairs, and suddenly they get to a part. There are more stairs, but they're bleak. You think, ooh, I don't want to go up there. That doesn't look like a nice place. I'm just looking for my place. And again, we have make our way, which means probably you could picture them maybe pushing past people or something is in their way. It's not a direct route from where they are to the other place. So maybe you have to move things or walk around things. This is making your way. It's not a direct path. You have obstacles. It was familiar ground to me, and I needed no guiding as we ascended the stairs. The bleak stone staircase, depressing, sad, scary, no hope, and made our way down and dun-colored doors. Wait, I skipped something. And made our way down the long corridor with its vista of whitewashed wall and dun-colored doors. What did I want to comment on here? Made our way down the long corridor with the vista. I just want to tell you that vista means view. So with a view of whitewashed walls and dung-colored doors. Near the further end of a low arched passage, branched away from it and led to the chemical laboratory. This was a lofty chamber. That means the ceilings were very high. So maybe when you're walking down the hallway, the ceiling is pretty low. And then when you open the door to the laboratory, it's lofty. The ceiling is very, very top, very high. This was a lofty chamber lined and littered with countless bottles, broad, low tables scattered about. It's funny because we have the word shatter today. That's even on my vocabulary list. And shatter, if you remember, means it breaks into a million pieces as opposed to just broken. And scatter means things are placed there and there and there and there. They're randomly everywhere, and there are a lot of them probably. So that's funny because it seems like scatter and shatter. No, I'm sure they might even be the same word. Actually, scatter and shatter. I wouldn't be surprised if we have one word and then later it evolved to mean another thing with a different pronunciation. There was only one student in the room who was bending over a distant table, absorbed in his work. At the sound of our steps, he glanced round and sprang to his feet with a cry of pleasure. I found it! I found it! He shouted to my companion, running towards us with a test tube in his hand. I found a reagent which is precipitated by hemoglobin and by nothing else. Okay, he's talking pure science. I think when you see the word hemo, that has something to do with blood. I think hemoglobin is what partially makes up blood. It's a component of blood, I believe. But it's really not important. We don't have to understand that. I think the point... Well, let's see. Well, a reagent which is precipitated by... I don't know what a reagent is. That sounds like a chemical term. Let's see. We might as well. We're almost done with this page, and then we'll start our exercises. So let's see. What is a reagent? A substance or compound used in a chemical reaction. Okay, it's chemistry terminology, so let's not spend any time on that. So he's saying, I found something sciency. Let's say that. I found it, he shouted to my companion, running towards us with a test tube in his hand. I found a reagent which is precipitated by hemoglobin, by nothing else. Okay, whatever. Had he discovered a gold mine? Greater delight could not have shone upon his face. Okay, I think that's the point. That's a very weird thing to be excited about. And Watson is making the observation, if he discovered a pile of gold, he would probably be less excited. He's so excited by making this little weird discovery. Oh, Pachu, I'm reading Pachu's comment about bruising. It may be within 24 hours after death. When did he find the bruise developed after death? Oh, Pachu, the idea in that scene, you have the dead bodies. Okay, he's in a university for doctors, and they have a dissecting room. Two sections, two sections. That means like cutting something apart. It's a very scientific kind of word. Normal people would never use that for talking about cutting something in two. The dissecting room is where, when somebody dies, they look inside the body for experimentation or to teach new medical students about the human body. That's why you dissect a body, you open the body, and you look at the different things. That's so the dissecting room is where they do that. But Sherlock Holmes, and this disturbed everybody. This made everybody uncomfortable. Sherlock Holmes was in there with a stick going, "What are you doing?" I want to see when the body stops making bruises. So he had a question. When does the body stop making bruises? I know how to answer this question. So he starts hitting dead bodies with a stick. And this made everybody very uncomfortable in a very violent way. But not because he's evil, because he's trying to find the answer to something. But he makes everybody uncomfortable. That's a very weird thing to do and very disrespectful to the dead bodies. So a normal person would think, oh my God, that's horrible. Why are you doing that? He's not normal. He just, I must have the answer. Dr. Watson, Mr. Sherlock Holmes, said Stamford, introducing us. Okay, I think this is probably where we will stop, okay, for today. But don't go away, because now we're just getting to the fun part. Because Sarah and Pachu have volunteered to join the video, and we're just going to practice some of the vocabulary words that we learned. But we're going to focus on intonation and the rhythm of the sentence for accent reduction. So if you're fairly advanced and you say, oh, the only thing I want to do is fix my accent, then this is a way to figure out how to do that, because we focus on the rhythm and the music of the sentence. So that's what we're going to do next. But I need like 2 or 3 minutes, because I have to make exercises for the words that I've chosen for today. So I'm going to take like a maybe 3 or 4 minute break. I'm going to make the exercises, and then we're coming back to this video, so don't go away. And then Sarah and Pachu will join us on Discord. We'll still have the video wherever you're watching, but then we're going to practice together. We're going to do pronunciation exercises and talk about the words that we learned, okay? So stay here, because the fun is just beginning. All right, so I will be right back in a few minutes, and it will be practice time. I'm back. Thank you for waiting. We're going to do it a little bit differently today. So, what I'm going to do first is put our vocabulary words up on the screen. Let's see. That's not right. How about. Here we go. Okay, these are our vocabulary words. We've got shatter, reminisce, wash your hands up, and basking. So now I'm a little bit out of practice. I forgot my process. But let's see. We'll go here and then. Oh no. Oh, here. Okay. Let's see. So, Pachu, Sarah, are you there? Can you hear me?
Hello, sir.
Oh, hi, Pachu. How are you doing today?
Sir, I'm doing great.
Oh, you have to put that little E. Great. Try again. Great. Pachu, can you say eat? Pachu, are you there? Oh, no.
Yes, sir.
Can you say eat?
Hello.
Can you say eat? Eat. Say eat. Do you hear me?
Hello, sir.
Can you hear me? Sarah, are you there? Do you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Okay, Pachu, do you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, say eat. Say the word eat.
Eat.
Now say gray. Say gray. Gray.
Great.
Yeah, gray eat. Gray eat. Gray eat.
Yes.
Say it. Okay, I think we're having connection problems. How are you doing, Sarah? Oh, I see
Yeah,
Alex
I'm
is in
doing
the
great.
room. Hi, Alex. How are you doing? Long time no see. Okay, let's get started. We're going to do it a little bit differently today. Okay. Let me see how to
Okay.
these things. All right. Let's start. Sarah, I'm going to say a
Yes,
sentence, okay? And that sentence
okay.
is the glass broke yesterday. The glass broke yesterday. Can you repeat that?
Yes, sure. The glass broke yesterday.
Okay, the glass broke yesterday. What is another way to say broke that is on our vocabulary list?
Shattered.
What's the difference between break and shatter?
Break. It breaks for a little pieces, but shattered uh, through everywhere.
Well, shatter is like a million pieces. So break is maybe
Big.
but shatter is like a million pieces, right? Do you remember that from the story?
Yeah.
Hmm. Have you seen that word before?
Yes. Yes, I saw it many times before. Yes,
Okay,
but
great.
I am not able to yet to recognize the difference between broke and shattered. That's the first time I know the difference between each of them.
Okay, yeah, and that's a very important difference. Break doesn't sound so serious, but shatter, that's something you probably can't repair. And maybe you could repair that. Oh, let's see. Uh, well, we're running into a little problem already. I'm sorry, I'm out of practice. I haven't done this in so long. I forgot everything. And now when I'm trying to do it,
Okay, sir.
uh,
Okay, sir.
uh, let's see. Let's see if we can do this quickly. Hopefully, wait, can I do this tomorrow? I don't know if I can do this tomorrow.
Yeah.
Uh, Let me check my schedule. Hopefully, yeah, hopefully tomorrow when we do this again, I'll remember.
Okay, no problem. At the same time?
No, wait, I'm having a little bit of a difficulty. Let me just. That's what I'm explaining. That usually I know what I'm doing, but I forgot everything. And now everything is a mess. Wait, let's try this. Okay. So we've got the mirror broke yesterday. Sarah, can you change that to a different word that means something similar to break?
Yeah, shattered. Yes, you asked
Hmm.
that before.
Okay, say the
Shattered.
sentence. Say the so replace break with shatter in the sentence.
Yes, okay.
Mhm. Go ahead.
Uh, what's the sentence?
I'll repeat it. The mirror broke yesterday.
The window broke yesterday.
The mirror broke yesterday.
Yeah, the window broke yesterday would be the
Listen,
window shattered.
listen again. Listen again. The mirror broke yesterday.
Mirror. Okay, the mirror. Yes, okay, the mirror. The
Uh,
mirror shattered yesterday.
the mirror shattered yesterday. What are the important words in that sentence?
Shattered.
Anything else or only
And
shattered?
mirror as well. Yeah, mirror as well. The mirror
Okay.
shattered yesterday.
Anything else or just mirror and shattered?
Yeah, maybe yesterday as well
Hmm.
because we emphasize the syllables in yesterday, not the other days. So yeah, maybe yesterday as well.
That's right. So we've got the mirror shattered yesterday. Pachu, can you say that sentence? The mirror shattered yesterday. Oh wait, I have Pachu on. Wait, I'm sorry, Pachu. Give me 1 minute. Oh, I'm so horrible today. Okay, Pachu, can you speak now? Repeat the sentence.
The mirror shattered yesterday.
Okay, but now remember when you make that sh sound, you have to whistle. Shattered.
Okay. So the mirror shattered
Sh-
yesterday.
sh- sh-
I forget everything
You
that
forgot
we
everything? Oh no.
did.
We have to redo everything. I can't.
Yeah,
Shattered. It's true.
yeah. We have to.
Because before you were
Yeah,
saying break.
we have to reprogram our mind
Mm,
because we did 2 or 3 months ago and
no,
did not practice.
I'm so sorry. I have to make more videos. I have to do it every day. Okay, but
Yes, sir.
okay, so try to make an effort. Shattered.
Shattered.
Okay,
Shattered.
tell me the sentence again. The mirror shattered yesterday.
The mirror shattered yesterday.
Okay, now the important words, as Sarah told us, were mirror and shattered and yesterday. I agree with her. Those are all important words. Pachu, in the word mirror, which syllable has all of the sound? Mirror.
Sir, can you make a bigger font size? Just
Oh, it's too difficult. Is this better?
yes, sir.
Let me see. I can't see the whole screen here. Okay, wait, let me. Yeah, okay, that's good, right? Uh,
Okay.
I'll make it
Okay.
bigger.
So, yeah. Yeah. Font size 14, 16, 16.
Oh, well, I don't know. I'm just using this is 12, but you want me to blow it up? Okay, wait, I'll do
Okay.
that pretty small.
Okay. Now, okay.
Wait, I'm going to change the font size. Maybe that will help, but I'll also make it bigger. Okay, so Pachu, that word mirror, which syllable has all of the sound?
Uh, Mirror is the first.
The first one.
Mirror.
Mirror. Say it like that. Mirror.
Mirror.
Mirror. Okay, so all the sound is on
Mm,
me. Me.
Yeah.
Mirror. Sarah, which.
Me.
Go ahead. Say it.
Yeah. Mirror.
Sarah, which
Yeah.
in the word shattered, which we also must emphasize, which syllable has all of the sound?
The first syllable.
Shattered. You're right. It's the first syllable. Actually, it's probably shad. Shattered. Okay, it's happening.
Shattered.
Shattered. Pachu, how about yesterday? Yesterday.
Yesterday.
Okay.
Yesterday.
Yesterday. So now we have our rhythm, right? Because it's the mirror shattered yesterday.
The mirror shattered yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Can you say, Pachu, can you say yes?
Yes.
That was good. That was good. Remember, you have to pull your tongue back like a snake. Yes. Say it again.
Yes.
Yesterday.
Yes. Yesterday.
The mirror
Yes.
shattered yesterday.
Yesterday.
Say it
The
again.
mirror shattered yesterday.
No, try that yesterday again. That was a bad yesterday.
The mirror shattered yesterday.
E.
Yesterday.
E. This starts with an E, and when you do that E, your tongue gets very tense. So this is the back of your. Oh, this is the back of your tongue. Your tongue kind of goes like that. There's a lot of tension. Yesterday.
Yesterday.
Make your
Yesterday.
push
Yesterday.
push your tongue up, and then you say E.
Yesterday.
You've got to make your tongue tense and high up. So there's just a little space for the air to come from your tongue and the top of your mouth. Yesterday.
Yeah. Yesterday.
Oh, there you go. There you
Yesterday.
go. That was good. That was good. Yesterday. Do you feel? Notice where your tongue is when you do that. Try it again. The mirror shattered yesterday.
The mirror shattered yesterday. Yesterday.
Yeah, that was good. Okay. All right. All right, Sarah. Let's make some music. What kind of tones do you
Okay.
think we should give? What kind of tones do you think that we should give these syllables? Are they high tones or low tones?
High tones, because you are frightening that mirror was broken or was shattered everywhere. So
Okay.
high
Well,
tone, high tone, yeah.
all right. Well, okay. Here's the thing. I think if you're making a normal sentence, you probably will almost always be starting it with a high tone. But you made an interesting statement, so let's look at it for a minute. I think tone is probably one of the harder things to get right for everybody because each person has like their own area where they're comfortable, right? So the area where I'm comfortable, me, share, yes, that range, that's me, and yours is very different from mine, okay? But the mirror shattered yesterday. If you're worried or scared, you go very high. That's very unusual for you. The mirror shattered yesterday. Okay, so if you're scared, you go extra high. We don't want to do that. This is just a neutral sentence. And a neutral sentence, we use our normal high. The mirror shattered yesterday. And we'll make the final syllable low. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay, so let's try both. Okay, first we'll do neutral. It's just we're giving information. We're giving facts. We don't have any emotions about it. How would you say it?
The mirror shattered yesterday.
Can you try to make this me and sha a little bit higher? The mirror shattered yesterday. I just want to hear the tones, the music.
Okay. The mirror shattered yesterday.
Okay, that sounds kind of neutral, but if you were worried, you would make it much higher. If you were scared, you would make it much higher. And that's how people understand that you're emotional. The mirror shattered yesterday. So the
The mirror
tone.
shattered.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but I just repeated what you said.
Go ahead.
Okay, the mirror shattered yesterday.
Pachu, can you say it with a little bit of music?
Okay, sir. Okay, the mirror shattered yesterday.
Okay, but can you try to give higher tones? The mirror shattered yesterday.
The mirror. Okay.
Try. You try again.
The mirror. Okay, the mirror shattered yesterday.
Okay, so high, high, low. The mirror shattered yesterday.
Okay, the mirror shattered yesterday.
So let's try to keep that rhythm. Now, if I say the mirror shattered yesterday, Pachu,
Yes, sir.
if I change the time to tomorrow, I'm losing my voice. If I change the time to tomorrow, how will you make that into the future? What would you say?
So the mirror will shatter tomorrow.
Okay, say that again.
The mirror will shatter tomorrow.
Okay, the mirror will shatter tomorrow. Right.
Tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we're changing that to the future using will. Sarah, can you say that?
Yes, okay. The mirror will shatter tomorrow.
Okay, the mirror will shatter tomorrow.
The mirror will shatter tomorrow.
Okay, because we want to keep the rhythm and the music as much as possible. Okay. Now, Sarah, this is something that happens in spoken English. Okay, but you should never write this. You could make a contraction with a proper noun and will, and it would sound like this: the mural, the mural,
The mirror,
mural.
mirror,
The mirror will shatter tomorrow.
mirror will shatter tomorrow.
Pachu, can you try that? Can you try? Let's try first without the contraction. The mirror will shatter tomorrow. Can you say that? But remember to try to keep the rhythm that we have established in this sentence.
Okay, the mirror will shatter tomorrow.
Okay. And what are the important words?
The mirror shatter
Mm-hmm. Mirror
tomorrow.
shatter tomorrow. Mirror shatter tomorrow. Try it.
Mirror shatter tomorrow.
The mirror will shatter tomorrow. Try the contraction. Oh, mirror.
The mirror shatter tomorrow.
Mirror. Mirror.
The mirror
Say r. Say r.
raw.
Say ro. Say roll.
Raw.
Roll. Roll. R. This is schwa sound. Roll.
Raw. Raw.
R. Roll. R. Roll.
Raw.
The mirror.
The mirror.
Mirror.
Mirror. Mural.
Repeat after me. 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 Say it.
The mirror.
Just repeat. Me. Just repeat, Pachu.
Okay.
Me.
Me.
Mirror.
Mirror.
Okay, but you're making them both even, and it's just me that's big and not r. Me. R.
Okay. Mirror.
Yeah.
Mirror.
Mirror. Mirror.
Mirror.
Mirror.
Mirror.
Mirror. 3. Me.
Mirror.
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 The mirror will shatter tomorrow.
Mirror shatter tomorrow.
Okay. Sarah, what if we say what if we say since last month? How would you
Since
change?
last month, so
Yes, how would you change the sentence if our time expression changes from tomorrow to since last month? What would be the best way to change that sentence?
okay, the mirror had it shattered, had it shattered since last month.
Okay, Sarah, I'm going to write what I think you said, which is the mirror had
Had it shattered
shattered
shat-
since last month.
month.
Is that what you said? That's what I
Yes.
heard. Is that what you said? Okay. So I'm just going to write something else here. Oh, this sentence doesn't really make much sense. The mirror has shattered since last month. I asked Grok to make this for me. He did a bad job. But it's too late.
Thank you.
It's too late to fix it now. But let's see. The mirror has shattered since last. Let's change that. Well, we can't change it. But okay, the mirror has shattered since. We'll just have to do this stupid sentence. Okay, Sarah, do you see the two different words that I have written on the screen? Can you see that yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Shattered and yesterday. Do you
Okay.
make the first syllable SHA is bigger and the WOYES is bigger as well?
Can you see the two sentences? Oh wait, no, you can't because it's not focused. Can you see the two sentences at the bottom of the screen, or at the top now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What is the difference between number one and number two?
Okay. Had shattered since last day or since last month,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, and the second one is shattered is only shattered without had. Shattered. The first one means
Uh-huh.
had shattered. It uh, it lasts. Maybe uh, is still shattered for now, or still shattered, or maybe I was still shattered right now. But the second one is shattered, and maybe they get rid of uh, the pieces of mirror. But maybe the first one is still maybe they still have a mirror, and maybe I think yeah, and still there are a lot of maybe there are pieces on the ground. I
Mm-hmm.
think that yeah, I know the difference, but I'm not able to express my
That's
ideas
okay.
right now.
That's okay. Don't worry. Well, I think what you're doing is you're confusing break and shatter with the question I'm asking you now. So if you look at number one and number two, I think uh, the only difference in the words is had and has. Had is in the past. Do you agree? Had is finished.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
go
the
ahead.
sentences are clear right now. Yeah, the sentence is clear right now because as the first time I saw shaded and had shaded, but you make it clear right now. So yeah, the difference had it's in the past, but has yeah, it's in the present. Yeah, I know the difference between uh, the perfect or maybe the past perfect and the present perfect. Yeah, I
Okay,
know the difference. Yes,
can you explain the difference to us?
yes. Um, has or maybe had. I will start off with has. Has it's a present and it has the impact on the present.
Okay.
But had it finished and there is no an effect in our life or right now. So that's the difference I know between each of them.
Yeah, so the difference is number one is finished, had. So that's a period of time. Where's the camera? So that's a period of time. It started in the past. Oh gosh. It started in the past, but it's also finished and it's gone. Okay. But number two is different. Number two is a period of time that started in the past, but for some reason it's still open, and that could be for many different reasons. Okay. So
Okay.
if you're using the word since, I think one of these is illogical. Which one is illogical? Which one doesn't make sense? Number one or number two? If you're using the word since, which means something started in the past, but we don't really know what's happening with it now. Do you think you should use number one that we know is finished, or should we use number two that is obviously open still? Which one?
Finished or not finished? Since last month, we will use had shadowed.
Which one?
Or maybe, yeah, the second one. No, the second one.
The second one. You're right, because since that word since means something started in the past and we don't know about, it doesn't really tell us about what's happening now. So it's
Yes.
not finished though. That's the important thing. So we can't really use number one and the word since. It doesn't make any sense because number one is already finished. Do you understand the idea?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so if we change, so our sentence is, where'd it go? I got too many windows open. Where is it? So our sentence is, since last month, the mirror will shatter tomorrow. Change it to using since last month. Go ahead. Let's just use since last month. What is the correct answer? Just read
Has it
number.
shadowed?
Yeah, so read it. Just read it. The mirror.
Okay, the mirror has it shadowed yesterday. Has it shadowed last month or
Okay, but
since last month?
if you're, yeah, you have to use the word since there. Okay, the mirror is shattered since last month. Try to say that
Yeah, the
again.
mirror.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the mirror has it shadowed since last month.
Did you
Because
say?
yeah, I just only listen to what you
Okay,
say because
okay.
I'm not able to use two apps at the same time. So I only listen to what you said and repeat it.
Oh no. Okay, so you understand you made a mistake. It's has shattered, right?
Has shadowed, yes.
Okay. Say it again. The mirror is shattered since last month, and try to pay attention to the important sounds in that sentence so that you find the rhythm of it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I,
Mm-hmm.
I repeat it again. Okay,
But this time
okay, the mirror.
pay attention to the important sounds. So for example, the mirror is shattered since last month. That's how I would say it.
Okay, the mirror shattered last since yesterday.
Since last month.
Or since last month, yes, yes.
Say it again.
The mirror, the mirror shattered since last month.
The mirror is shattered since last month. Okay. Pachu
Yeah.
can wait, whoa, 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 whoa. Pachu has a big family with lots of activity, so I find it
Yes.
helpful.
No, they
I
are they are reading near me, so
oh,
yeah,
they're
it is
they're
a
having dinner.
bit.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
So when I'm talking to someone else, I always put you on mute so that you don't have to worry about the noise.
Yes. Yeah.
And but then I always
Yeah.
forget to put you back on.
Okay, sir.
Okay, but I've got you. So just repeat that. The mirror is shattered since last month.
The mirrors had shattered since last month.
Okay. Is has an important word? The mirror is shattered since last month. Is that an important word in our sentence, do you think?
Yes, the
Has
mirror
verb,
shattered.
auxiliary verbs are not usually important. So instead of saying the
Okay.
mirror has, try to put it together as one word. The mirror is.
The mirrors.
The mirror is shattered.
The mirrors shattered.
It sounds like the mirror is. That's how it sounds. The mirror is. The mirror is shattered.
Yeah. The mirrors shattered
Since last month.
since last month.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to our next word. Let me see. Where is it? Okay. Our next word is pachu. This is not a really good. Let's see. Let's read the definition of reminisce first. Okay. Pachu, can you read the definition of reminisce on the screen?
So
Do you
I
see it?
cannot
You
see
can't
the.
see it? Okay,
Yes.
I'll
Okay.
read it. I'll read it. To think and talk about happy memories from the past. This is the word reminisce. This is when you think about the past and you say, oh, it was so wonderful back 20 years ago. I miss the old days. Do you ever reminisce about the
Yes.
past, Pachu? Do you ever think it was so wonderful when I was a child? Now everything is horrible.
Yes. Yes.
That's reminiscing
Yes.
when you idealize the past and you think about it. Okay. So talk about, think about is maybe a synonym for reminisce, except it doesn't have this idea of love. Like, oh, I love the past. It was so wonderful back then. That's kind of the difference between the two. Okay, so there's a feeling with reminisce, remembering the past, thinking about the past, but with love. Is that pretty clear?
Yes.
It is?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
All right. So, Pachu, if I say, we talked about the old days with love. We talked about the old days with love. We talked about the old days with love. Can you repeat
Old
that?
days. We talked about old days.
Okay. If you say old days with no the, it is not specific to your life or your family. You're just saying old days. Everybody
Yes.
old days. When you say the old days, then you're talking about your family memories or your friends' memories from when you were young. Very specific memories. Do you understand the difference?
Yes. Yes. Got it. Yeah.
All right. So
Got
it's
it.
really important to say the old days because then I get the idea that you're talking about when you were growing up and your family and your friends. The old days. We talked about the old days.
We talked about the old days
Mhm. Yesterday.
yesterday.
Uh-huh. Can you
Yesterday.
so if you wanted to change this sentence to mean we were talking about when we were children. Imagine like maybe your old friend from school, from primary school visited you. Would that make you happy, Pachu? Suddenly your best friend
Yes.
from primary school said, "Pachu,
Yeah.
long
Yes.
time, right?"
Yes.
And then wouldn't you sit and talk about the old days?
Yes.
Right? How would you feel? Would you feel happy and loved?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Make them. It's love.
Okay. So how would you change this sentence? We talked about the old days yesterday. Change that sentence using a word that means like remembering the old days with a lot of love. Which word would you
Yeah,
use?
we are talking about the old days. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yesterday.
But Pachu, which word on the vocabulary list means thinking about or talking about or remembering with love? Is it shatter, reminisce, wash your hands of something, or basking?
Reminisce. Reminisce.
Reminisce.
Reminisce.
Reminisce. Wow, that's a hard word.
Reminisce.
Where's the accent on that syllable? Reminisced. Reminisced. Oh, it's at the end. It's at the end. Reminisced.
Reminisce.
Listen, where's the accent, Pachu? Reminisced.
Reminisced. Reminisced. Nist.
It's the
Nis.
final, yeah, it's the final syllable. Okay. Change this sentence, Pachu, using the verb reminisce. We talked about the old days yesterday. Change that verb to reminisce. How would you do that?
We reminisced
Hmm. Okay.
yesterday.
We reminisced. Okay, that's a good sentence. We reminisced yesterday. If you say that, I imagine, oh, we had a wonderful time talking about the past yesterday, okay? But we actually have an object here. So we're going to use the preposition about. We reminisced about the old days.
Okay.
Yes.
We reminisced about the old age.
Yesterday. Mm-hmm.
This yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
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 Yesterday.
Yesterday. Mm-hmm. Say the whole sentence again.
We reminisced about the old days yesterday.
Okay. Sarah, can you read the whole sentence? Are you there, Sarah?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm there. Yes, okay.
Okay. Can you read the whole sentence?
Okay, we reminisced. Yes, okay. We reminisced about the old days yesterday.
Can you say nist? Nist?
Reminisced.
Nist. Try to nest.
Yes.
It sounds like you're pushing the air up, but you should maybe be trying to push the air down more to make that vowel sound. You're saying nest. You're pushing the air out, but you should be trying to push the air down. You should feel your throat is getting tight. Nist. Eat it.
Nest.
Try to
Nest.
eat it. Push it down.
Reminisce.
You got to push it down your throat more. Nist.
Nest. Reminisce.
If you don't feel it in your throat, if you don't feel that muscle getting tense, you're not doing it well enough. Nist. Nist.
Nest.
Try to eat it.
Nest.
Pretend you're eating the sound. Try to swallow it. Nist.
Nest.
Sounds like you're not doing anything. You're just doing the same thing. You're just saying nest. Nest.
Nest.
Nest. Nest. Can you try to feel it in your throat more?
Nest.
Nest. Nest.
Yeah.
Nest. You got to push down
Nest.
more. You have to push down. Push down in your throat.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. Nest.
all right. I think we have to move on because I have to go pretty soon. So let's see. Sarah, what are the important words in that sentence?
Reminisce.
Okay.
And old days.
Mm-hmm.
Old days.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday as well.
Okay. Okay. Reminisced, old days, and yesterday. Now, in this word reminisced, what is the important syllable? Which syllable has all of the sound?
The first syllable.
So, is this the correct pronunciation? Reminisced. Is that
No,
correct?
no. Reminisce.
Reminisced. Where's the big syllable? Reminisce.
Reminisce. Second syllable.
Oh, so it's reminisced? Is it reminisced?
No, reminisce. Reminisce يبقى the
Reminisced.
يبقى the third syllable or the last syllable.
It's the last one.
Yes, the last one, yes.
Nist. Nist. That's the big sound in this word is nist. Nist. Sarah, can you say we reminisce?
Yes. Reminisce.
Okay. And what is the next important word, did you say?
Old days.
And, well, probably not days, probably just the word old. Usually it's the adjective that would take the emphasis and not the noun. So, old days. We reminisced about old days.
Reminisce about old days.
About the.
Okay.
Nist about the.
Missed about the.
We reminisced about.
Reminisce about the old days.
That's right. That sounds more natural. If you talk like that, that sounds very natural. We reminisced about the old days.
Reminisced about the old days.
Now, in the word yesterday, which word has all of the sound? Which word has the emphasis?
Yes, yesterday is the first syllable.
First syllable? Okay. Yesterday. Yesterday. So now we have our rhythm. We've got our rhythm for our sentence to sound very natural. We reminisced about the old days yesterday. Can you say that?
Remin- yes. Reminisced about the old days yesterday.
Okay, now let's go find Mr. Pachu.
Yes.
All right. Can you try to say the sentence with that type of rhythm, Pachu? We reminisced about the old days yesterday.
We reminisced about the old days yesterday.
Can you say tabauta? Tabauta, like one word. Tabauta?
About the about the
Nistabauta? Nistabauta?
minced about the minced about the
Nistabauta?
missed about the missed about the
We reminisced about the.
reminisced about the
Okay, you say that like one word. That's just like one word. We reminisced about the.
we reminisced about the
Okay, and then can you say that, Sarah? We reminisced about the.
We reminisced about the.
Okay, and then what would you say is the next phrase? I would maybe divide this into three, I think.
Old days.
Okay, and then what is the important word in that phrase? Old days.
Old.
So that's how it should sound. Old days.
Old days.
We
Yeah, it's like
reminisce.
D connected. Yes, we connected two words with one sound like that.
That's usually how an
Yes, old
English
days.
sentence. That's how an English sentence is usually connected. There's one important sound, and then there are little small sounds either in front of it or behind it most of the time. So when you make a phrase, this would all sound like one word. We reminisced about them.
We reminisced about that.
I mean, there are different ways you could divide it. You could stop it about if you want. The way I talk, it sounds like this. Okay, but then the next word or the next phrase word is old days.
Old days.
Yeah, that's a big word. Old is big, days is small. We reminisced about the old days.
Reminisced about the old days.
Can you say that, Pachu? We reminisced about the old days.
we reminisced about the old age.
Day about old age? I don't think anybody reminisces about old age. But maybe old days.
Oh, sir.
Didn't you say age? I thought I heard you say age. Okay. Say it again, Pachu. We reminisced about the old days.
We reminisced about the old age.
Don't say age. Say days.
Old age. Age.
Pachu, you're saying the word age, but it's days. We're talking about days.
Yeah, so age. Age.
Days. One day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 7 days. The old days.
The old age. Old age.
Say z.
The
Say s. Like a snake.
the
Say
the
s like a snake. Make the sound of a snake. Say it again.
sir, which one? So which one, sir?
Well, I have it on the screen if you can see the screen. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. So we've got this sentence. I'm sorry, it was kind of behind me because I was getting too much into talking to you. I forgot to scroll up. Can you see the sentence? We
Okay.
reminisced about the old days.
Yes. Oh, we reminisced about the old age.
You keep saying age, Pachu, but it's days. Say the word day.
But I said this.
Oh, you
But
are
why
okay.
it
So
sound
actually,
like it?
yeah. Do you know what? Well, let's see. Days, dage. Do you know why? Your tongue, because you're letting your tongue touch your teeth, so it sounds like you're saying the ch sound or the g sound, and Don't let your tongue touch your mouth. Days.
Okay.
Days. Do you know what it is? Just try to follow what I was doing because I was trying to help you make the sound. First, make an S. Can you say dace? Dace?
Okay. Des.
Dace.
Des.
But don't forget that little E. Say east. Say east.
Is.
Just east, okay? All right. So
Is.
that sound is that coming out of your mouth, or is that something that you're eating?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, it's a coming.
It's
Eating sound.
you're pushing it out, right? Days. If you put your hand in front of your face, you can hear all the S. You can feel the air. Days, right?
Des. Des. Des.
To make
Des.
to make the sound that we want, you have to do the opposite. You have to try to push the air down, but you do the same thing as you do with an S in your mouth. Days, days, day. You have to. This is hard.
Des.
Yeah, you have to actually try to push the air down. Days,
Okay. Date. Date.
days.
Date.
Yeah, let your tongue go down a little bit more. You're touching too close to the tip of your mouth. Days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do this.
Yeah.
Instead of putting your tongue to the top, put your tongue to the bottom teeth. Days.
Okay. So date.
Days.
Date.
Days. Touch
Date.
it. Touch the bottom teeth, not the top teeth.
Uh. Date.
Yeah, it's
Date.
getting
So it
close.
is.
That's
So,
getting close. What were you
yeah.
saying?
It is touching. Yeah. It is touching the roof of my mouth. Yeah. Tongue.
Days. Days.
Date.
In the back or in the
Date.
see, it should be it's okay if it's touching in the back, but don't let it touch your upper teeth in the front. Put it under your bottom teeth. Days.
Okay. Date. 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 Date.
Yeah, getting closer. It's going to take some practice, but I don't remember you having that problem before. This is a new problem.
No. It is just a reprogram. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so let's try to say the sentence one more time. We reminisced about the old days yesterday.
We reminisced about the old days yesterday.
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 Sarah,
Yesterday.
can you say the whole sentence again, please, Sarah?
Yes, okay.
Can you repeat it?
Okay, we reminisced. Yes, we reminisced about the old days yesterday.
Okay, great. Sarah, if I tell you to add the time expression tomorrow, how will you change this sentence?
Okay, we will reminisce
Mhm.
about the old days tomorrow.
Okay, and so remember to keep the rhythm. Okay, we will reminisce about the old days tomorrow. Try to keep the rhythm.
Okay, we'll reminisce about old days tomorrow.
Okay, we will reminisce about the old days tomorrow. All right. And Sarah, if you were to make a contraction with we and will, how would that sound?
Well, will be
Okay.
well. We well. Yes.
And yeah, now the sound that you have to be really careful to make is a big sound. Actually, it's several sounds. I'm going to say that word very slowly, and let's think about how many vowel sounds are in the middle. Wheel. How many sound? Wheel. It sounds like four sounds. Wheel.
Yes. E-L-L. Yes. Three sounds. Yes.
No, no, no.
Real.
No, don't think about the W or the L. I'm just talking about that sound in the middle, the E. It's a very dirty sound. It has a lot of sounds in it. Listen to that. E. E.
E.
I'm just talking about that one sound. Listen.
Yes.
Wheel.
Real. Yes,
Yeah,
because
that's
it has yes, it has schwa, I think.
mhm.
Real, yes.
Yeah, so
Yeah, it's the first syllable. Yes.
it
It's the
almost
first
sounds
syllable, yes.
yeah, it's probably like 3 or 4 sounds in there. Wheel.
Real.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. Okay, so you have to be careful because if you just say it sounded like you're saying well, W-E-L-L, but it's very different.
Yeah.
Well is short. Well. Hear that? That's very short. Say well.
Well,
Okay, see how you hear how short that is?
yes.
Now listen to this word. Wheel. Is that short or long? That vowel sound in the middle.
Long,
It's really long. It's
long.
super long. It's like 3 or 4 sounds. So they're very different sounds to my ear. Can you try to say the sentence again?
Okay. We will reminisce about the old days tomorrow.
Okay, but you have to say wheel.
Okay, we reminisce about the old days tomorrow.
Okay.
We'll.
Mr. Pachu, can you try to say the whole
Yes.
sentence using the contraction?
Real reminisce about the old days tomorrow.
Okay, so remember, this is a thing that would maybe it would take forever for us to do, but we have to notice that some vowel sounds have a very long duration and some vowel sounds have a very short duration, and it's really important to notice which ones have a long duration and which ones are short, because if you mix them up, it's very difficult for people to understand the word. Pachi, what is the word after wheel? Wheel. What is that word?
The reminisce.
Okay.
Re-
Reminisce. Reminisce.
reminisce.
Where's the important syllable?
Reminisce. Reminisce.
Where's all the sound in that word? Which syllable has all of the sound?
Nice.
Reminisce. Reminisce.
Reminisce. Reminisce.
Which syllable is important?
Yeah, is the is the last.
The last.
Reminisce.
So
Reminisce.
so re and me, they're very small sounds. Ruma, 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 ruma. But when we get here to this
Rema-
important syllable,
rema-
suddenly it's a very long sound. We'll reminisce. It's actually the S that's long.
Reminisce.
We'll reminisce. Okay. And
Reminisce. Reminisce.
say it again. We'll reminisce.
Real reminisce.
Okay, now earlier I was talking about pronunciation with Sarah, and we spent a long time talking about the word wheel and noticing all those sounds in the middle of the word. But Pachu, is wheel, is that an important word in our idea? Is that something that we should emphasize? What do you think?
No.
No. No, do you agree, Sarah?
No.
Not really important, this wheel part? Sarah, are you there? Okay.
Yes, yes,
Oh, do you,
yes,
so,
I'm here, yeah.
okay. So when I was telling you how to pronounce wheel, that would be like if you were emphasizing it. That's how you would say it. But in this sentence, it's completely unimportant, and it could be pronounced wool, wool, wool,
Wool,
because it's
wool.
not important. It's not an important word. Okay. But if you are saying it and you want to pronounce it clearly, it's wheel. But in a sentence, it's usually not emphasized. So it gets reduced to wool.
Yeah.
Wool. We'll reminisce. We'll reminisce. Can you say that, Sarah? We'll reminisce.
Reminisce.
Again.
Reminisce.
We'll reminisce.
Reminisce.
That's good. Pachu, can you say that? Reduced. We'll reminisce.
Will reminisce. Will reminisce.
Pachu, can you identify? I'm going to say I think that we should divide this into 3 phrases. What do you think is the next phrase? that because we want to build our sentence around big sounds, and our first sound is reminisce. So we have our first phrase. We'll reminisce. We'll reminisce. What do you think would be the
Reminisce. Will reminisce.
which word do you think we could focus on in the next phrase? If there are two more phrases, which word do you think would be the next focus word?
Is old, about the old age.
Okay.
Old.
Okay. So let's think of this like one phrase here. Okay. So our peak, our little mountain peak, it's going to be old. That's going to be the important word. And everything else is just going to be, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Everything else is not going to be pronounced very clearly. It's just going to be reduced to as little as possible. So this phrase here, this is about the, about the, about the, about the. Can you say that?
About
About
about the about the
about the.
about the
Let's try to say
out.
all these words together. We'll reminisce about them. We'll reminisce about them.
Will reminisce about the.
Mhm.
Will reminisce about the.
Okay, but now we have our big mountain peak. We'll reminisce about the old days.
Will reminisce about the old age.
Mhm. So really the only two things that we definitely hear in this sentence are nis and old, and everything else just gets together and we can't hear it. We'll reminisce about the old days.
Will reminisce about the old age.
Okay, be careful with your S because I keep hearing you say the word age. So that's something we're going to have to work on, okay? But that's a new problem. I don't know where that came from. What happened, Pachu? Okay.
Yes, sir. Okay.
So we've got Sarah. The final little phrase that we have here is tomorrow. Tomorrow. Where's all the power? Where in that syllable?
Tomorrow. Yes. The second syllable?
Mm-hmm. Tomorrow.
The second.
You're right. That's
Mm.
right. Okay. So really the things that you hear in this phrase, the things that you'll be able to hear clearly in this phrase will be nis old mo. Okay. We'll reminisce about the old days tomorrow.
Reminisce about the old days tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Pachu, can you say that? Can you read that sentence? Trying to keep the rhythm.
Okay. Will reminisce about the old days tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. That's good. All right. Now, Pachu, if I say, let's change this sentence a little bit, and we'll say, since last summer. Since last summer. That's our new time expression. So, how will you change, we'll reminisce about the old days tomorrow, if we're changing the time expression?
So we have reminisced the old days since last summer.
Can you please repeat that?
So we have reminisced about the old days since last summer.
Okay, we have reminisced about the old days. You know, when I was in Los Angeles, I was visiting a friend from high school, and so we've been friends for 33 years. So we were reminiscing. We were talking
Yeah.
about the
So
old days.
just I was, sir. Yeah. Just I was remembering. Yeah. In that time that
Mm-hmm.
you were in Los Angeles,
Mm-hmm.
and I was expecting that what will be the lesson from there? Yeah, that is a dream. So
What did you say?
yeah, but
You
did
said,
not happen.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand. You said what? You said I was thinking about you in Los Angeles, and what?
Yeah, and I was expecting that the lesson will come from there because you
Oh,
have already
oh
told
yeah,
us.
I know. I'm sorry.
So I,
I had a problem. I had a problem. A lot of technical problems. Well, I'm still having technical problems now, but it just wasn't going to work. I'm sorry about that. But let's
Okay.
just so we can move on though. But I understand. I'm sorry. Okay, so we have reminisced about the old days since last summer. Sarah, can you please read that sentence?
Yes, okay. And we can reduce the have as well with we. We
Oh yes,
say
we're
we've.
going to do that in a minute, but I want to show you something about that. I think that's kind of interesting. So first, you're right, we're going to do that. That's going to be our next step. But first, just I just want to hear you say the sentence again.
Okay. We have reminisced about the old days last about the last month. Or
Oh,
what
last
did you
summer.
write in your
Since
words?
last
Because I'm not able to say it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, let me check the screen. See, I'm out of practice because it's been so long. I feel like this is my first video I ever made. Okay,
Okay.
so now it's
Yes.
focused, okay?
Yeah, it's clear now. Yeah.
Hmm.
Summer. Yes, it's clear now. We have reminisced about the old days since last month, as last summer.
Now
Last
listen
summer.
to,
Because
I just, listen to this. We, we,
yes,
we have, we have. What do you think about
we have.
that word we? Is that long in duration or short? We. Just the e in we.
Wait, wait.
How? I'm sorry. Can you repeat that, please?
Yes, okay. We've. Yeah, but now it's long. But
Ah,
and
that's
only
what I.
we say only it's short.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to show you, and I'm glad that you noticed that by yourself. That means that you're noticing that sometimes, and they can change sometimes, which is really confusing. If you say we
Yeah,
have, that is very small. We have, but when you make the contraction, suddenly is that e becomes very important, and it's so important to not say weep. You have to say weave. That e becomes super
we.
long,
Yeah.
and I'm really happy that you noticed that. That shows.
Yes, because yeah, I studied yes, but in the past I studied a lot of grammar that's
Mhm,
related to pronunciation, connected speech, contractions,
mhm.
all of that. So yeah, I have a good knowledge about that.
Okay, wonderful. So tell me the sentence using the contraction, and pay attention to making your e very long and weave.
Okay, we've reminisced about the old days since last summer.
Hmm. Now, Sarah, that word reminisced. Where's the important word?
Okay, reminisced. Yes, it's a
Oh, I'm sorry.
reminisced. Yeah, the
Which syllable is important in reminisced?
yeah the last syllable.
Okay, so let's make that stand out more because it's getting lost and I can't hear it. It should be reminisced, reminisced.
Reminisced. Yes,
We've reminisced.
reminisced.
So,
Reminisced.
yeah, so now we're just finding the rhythm. Normally, we is not big, but we have no choice. We must make this a big sound because of the contraction. So it's not that it's an important word, it's just that the sound changes when you make the contraction. But it's okay because it fits our big small big small big small pattern. Mr. Pachu, let me unmute you.
Yes, sir.
What is the next important word?
Old.
Old. Okay. Sarah, okay. Sarah, so far we've got a big small pattern. Can you try to repeat it, keeping a nice rhythm?
Yes, okay. We've reminisced about the old days since last summer.
Okay. And in the last part, Pachu, in the last part, what is the important word?
The since last summer,
So
the
that's which one?
last
You're right. Yeah. Since last summer.
since last.
Okay. So we have a pretty good big, small rhythm. Pachu, can you try to read the whole sentence? We reminisced about the old days since last summer.
We reminisced about the old days since last summer.
Mm-hmm. Can you try that, Sarah? The whole sentence? We've reminisced about the old days since last summer.
Okay. We've reminisced about the old days since last summer.
Okay, great. Well, I think that this is where I wanted to do 2 more words, but I
Yes,
think
sir.
we're going to
Okay.
make it.
Yeah.
So, all right. Thank you, everybody. I'm so happy
Thank
that
you.
you came back after my 2-month absence.
Thank
It's nice to see everybody again. I'm going to try.
Thanks, sir. Thank you,
thank you,
Hi,
sir.
Alex.
Alex.
Thanks for coming back.
Alex, yeah, good to see you. Good, yeah, good to see you back. Yeah, I was on the go. That's why I put myself on mute. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
So
great. Probably I will. I'm going to do a video tomorrow. Okay, at the same time, around the same time.
no problem at all. No problem at all.
Okay, and so we'll continue. We're going to continue with Sherlock Holmes tomorrow and the story of I don't even remember the name of the story. What is it? A Study in Scarlet. Okay, so thank you,
Okay.
everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye.
please get back. Thanks. Bye.